Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to Stamford Bridge, yet again, on another sweltering summer's eve.
Yes. Did you hear that Bonnie Tyler died?
Did he?
She.
Bonnie Tyler. Did she now?
I Need a Hero, Total Eclipse of the Heart, those
died
songs.
75, yeah.
Yeah. No, not bad innings.
No, not too bad, not too bad. 75.
Yeah.
I mean, a little early, perhaps, but considering the livings of famous people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of life she led or anything. But just, famous person died.
They do that on occasion.
Yeah, not often enough, frankly.
Well, considering how few there are to replace them.
You're looking forward to the Odyssey.
Oh, boy. I don't know what to think, honestly.
It's going to be shit. It's going to be shit. And do you know how I know it's going to be shit?
Positive reviews.
That's right. They're all like, oh, this is brilliant. Absolutely epoch-making. This is visionary filmmaking from Christopher Nolan. It's like, what? Christopher Nolan is mediocre at best, all right? This is not visionary filmmaking. What this is you're all like roped in because it's such a big thing and it's very progressive and you're going to be attacking straight white men in it. And so it's like, no, this is shit. And everyone can tell just from the way you guys are fucking praising it.
I am tended towards agreeing, yes.
They're using really like vague language as well to describe how great it is, and it's like, right, okay.
Well, also not just vague, but how do I put it? Doctrinal. Like, all of them are saying the same thing. All of them are praising the same thing. Everybody mentions... It feels like they were given a list where it's like, okay, listen, you got to mention IMAX, because they're paying us. Got to mention IMAX.
Yeah.
Got to see it in IMAX. You got to mention the horror aspect of it. It was like, horror aspect? Really? Okay.
Yeah, in the Odyssey, yeah.
Maybe pull something off.
I mean, a lot of people die, so it's not like it's, not got the potential, I suppose.
True. And greatest work ever, and so on.
Yeah. And it's based on Emily Wilson's interpretation of the Odyssey. So basically what we're looking at is the shitlib Odyssey. And it's like, oh, great. Great. And it's full of shitlibs, and it's full of race swaps. Right, okay. It's going to be shit.
And it very much so reminds me of, like, as part of me thinks this is going to earn a lot of money regardless, but...
It might.
We do have a preceding example of this in the Rings of Power, which had the exact pre-release marketing campaign, where they brought in people who had no knowledge of Lord of the Rings at all to cheer at the screen. Not a single one of which ever spoke about the TV show ever thereafter.
Yeah, in fact, it's kind of like an promotional campaign, isn't it? Where it's like everything you say about this film makes people go, well, hang on a second. And so, like, how much has, all like Elliot Page and the African woman actually featured in the marketing? Probably not that much. There's probably been lots of Matt Damon, like, Lastragonians or whoever else. Like, but it's like, okay, no, we're going to shove them in there for progressive points, but we want them at the back because we want people to watch it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, they need to keep a strict leash on them because every time they've been allowed to open their mouths, it's been a PR disaster. The latest one was the black chick going like, what would you like to say to the writers of the Odyssey? What would you like to say to Homer? And I was like, well, what about women's screen time?
Hey, bitch, Homer was blind.
It's not a concern, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously he wouldn't understand screen time, but he'd probably understand the concept of more women in there. It's like, no, he's blind and he's an ancient Greek misogynist. Go away.
It would be funny, however, having him sit her down and explain, like, listen, women are the prize.
Yeah, that's what Achilles is fighting for.
That would be good. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, me too.
Right, so A while ago, we watched a Kurzgesagt video about how Germany was being absolutely fucked into the ground by liberalism. Which caught me a little bit by surprise, because Kurzgesagt are themselves rather progressives, and to have them admit to the problem so blatantly was unusual.
It was unexpected.
Yes.
But imagine how blatant the problem must be if even like an outlet like Kurzgesagt is saying it.
Yes, because the issue is, of course, that they're right. The math is not mathing, and there does not appear to be any way to make the math.
No.
Which places us in the rather complicated position of needing to change the math, but we are ideologically committed to the math. So, where do we go?
We literally have no other moral framework whatsoever. So what are our options here?
Yes. And the option appears to be, well, liberalism didn't work. We need to reevaluate all of it and probably scrap a whole bunch, especially the social welfare system, which was what they brought up the most as being absolutely crippling to Germany.
Just like it is everywhere else.
But then I wondered, okay, right, so what is the socialist counter-argument to this? And that's what we've found today with the 3 Arrows video.
Do you like 3 Arrows?
I've never watched anything else of his. This is the first video I'm going to watch right now.
Well, imagine autistic German leftist. So average German political screed, basically.
All I know about him is that he's one of those left-wing accounts that barely puts up anything, like 2-3 videos a year, right? Yeah. But somehow, despite producing no content, YouTube massively pushes them every time they appear.
Man, this is a model that we need to tap into, dude. I'll see you in December for the yearly stream.
It's like
YouTube will push us.
I've genuinely thought about that. Like, okay, maybe like content starvation is a thing. If you starve your audience of content, then they'll flood to it, and then YouTube will look at the sudden influx of viewers and go like, "Oh, something is happening here."
Yeah, everyone loves this.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, maybe it's worth just like starting a channel and then literally doing that, making like 1 video every 6 months.
Yeah. Part of me too is because I had just a quick brief look through them, and they didn't look particularly well created. They didn't look particularly well crafted. So maybe it's just like really great arguments, I guess. But then I remember that other guy, that dude who was 100,000 in debt because he'd forgot to pay taxes.
The alt-right pipeline guy.
Yeah, I think so. That guy had the exact same business model, and he didn't strike me as particularly erudite.
No, what's his name? It's Innuendo?
Innuendo Studios. That's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, yeah. Yes.
I don't know. Maybe this is an
I like that guy as well.
module.
What I like about that guy is there's a kind of fatalism in all his work. His work is basically like, we've already lost. It's already over. And it's like, yes, it is. Deal with it.
Well, the interesting thing is, because I did the analysis thing of his videos a while ago, where he begins quite hopeful. He says, obviously, we're surrounded by Nazis, but we're going to win. We have the morals, we have the truth, we have everything. And then a few years later, he's like, well, we're crossing the Rubicon, guys. How much longer before you rebel?
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful endorsement that our position is doing fucking fantastic.
Oh, actually, right. So there was a More in Common survey/study/focus group report that was put out today, right? That found 55% of people in Britain just think that mass immigration is destroying the British identity. And 33% just want remigration. That is millions of foreigners to be sent home. And it's just like, fucking hell. Like, half of people agree with the basic premise that mass immigration not good. And a third of people in the country are just like, just send them home. Why are they still here?
Yeah.
Like that, and the thing is, this whole thing, I'll do a video on it at some point. This whole thing is couched in apocalyptic terms for liberalism. It's just like, oh no, the country's going insanely right wing, and it's like, yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah. Right. I guess we'll get to it then. Okay. No. First, predictions. Okay. So, my initial prediction is going to be there is no solution. Really, the solution will be raise taxes or steal from the rich, in essence.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be something like, essentially, there is no problem except capitalism. And so the only solution is, of course, more socialism, which is dovetails with your point of that means stealing money from the rich.
Yep. Redistribution, I think, will be the main argument, because, again, I just don't see how the maths is going to end up mathing on this, but we'll see.
Also, these people are as predictable as anything.
That is true. See, I've been thinking about an idea for a video on explaining why leftists don't understand economics, and I think it largely comes back to the fact that in the socialist worldview, value already exists.
Yes.
Like, the money's already there, the wealth is already there, regardless of whether or not anyone is doing anybody to extract it, and so the only question is how to distribute that wealth.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, actually, because there's nothing in the socialist worldview that accounts for innovation. Like, as far as they're concerned, everything it's literally the end of history thinking, right? So, like, when Marx is like, oh look, we've got all this industrial machinery, we just need it in the control of the proletariat. It's like, okay, but have you predicted automated drones? Have you predicted nuclear power? Have you predicted? And of course he hadn't. As far as he was concerned, all you can do is look backwards. You can never look forwards.
Yeah, they're incapable of actually seeing it, and they simply assume that it will manifest, it seems, out of thin air. But, right, we're wandering off topic again. Let's begin.
Hello, everyone. Today we are taking a look at a video.
I'll speed this up slightly.
I think that's probably wise.
Yeah, it's on the longer side.
Video by the channel Kurzgesagt, titled Germany is Over. When I first saw the thumbnail and title of this video, my first thought was, yes, finally it's getting through to people that Germany as a country is circling the drain.
Well, hang on a second. I didn't realize we'd all find such common agreement so quickly in the video.
Yeah, okay, that took me a little bit by surprise, though I imagine we're going to disagree on the reason why Germany is circling the drain.
Yeah, but on the plus side, at least we can agree that Germany needs to be broken up into about 4 different countries.
4? My friend, I wish to return to the Holy German fucking Empire. Let's make it 400.
At the very minimum. But anyway, yeah, go on.
I want to have the fucking Principality of Bavaria back.
The rich getting richer, the poor getting...
Well, there you go. The rich getting richer. The rich are the problem. God, this is one of those things, the fundamental disconnects, where it's like, okay, you have rich people in your country. Okay, how did they get rich? Well, they created enormous corporations that employed tens of thousands of people. Oh, okay. What's the downside? Well, you see, people are poorer. People are poorer because they have jobs?
No, people are poorer because immigrants have jobs. Unironically, right? In Britain, out of every young person that was employed in the last 5 years, 20 out of every 28 jobs that were made and a young person found employment in, 27 of them went to immigrants. I'm not joking. Like Deliveroo drivers, McDonald's workers, people who work in coffee shops and all that sort of stuff, all immigrant labor.
Yeah.
Like, so in a way, he's not wrong. The rich are getting richer, but it's because the left love immigration.
Getting poorer, rapidly increasing militarization of society, the far-right AfD polling in first place nationally.
Rapidly increasing militarization of society.
I mean,
is
partially?
German society militarizing, is it?
Not society. No, it doesn't feel like it, but
no.
Germany is like, okay, right. So what's happening in Germany right now is that they've realized that they're not in fact living in a void-born bubble, protected against all the other forces of the universe, and they're actually beginning to build something that resembles a military again. And
that makes sense.
They have been doing a lot of recruiting recently. A lot of recruiting. Like when I was in Germany last time in Munich, there were loads of posters for the Bundeswehr. And at first I was like, that's weird. The modern day Germans don't really strike me as the militarist type. But then I come to think, of course, nobody wants to be in the German army anymore.
Well, I mean, all I'm saying is, I bet that the German army disproportionately has, shall we say, patriots in there?
Yes, like it would be a line of employment basically for the particularly interested. Because the German army is, of course, spat upon. It's viewed as militaristic. It's viewed as evil. It's viewed as unnecessary, and so on.
Oh, our own army is militaristic.
Yes. So the only people who'd actually join were like the small
Nazis.
minority who's like, okay, well, I still think the military is cool, and I want to do a job out of it.
Well, literally, it's the Hitler fan club that joins the military in the German mind.
So they need loads of attempts now to try and recruit people because nobody wants to join. And it's the same problem in England as well, same problem in France as well, where it's like nobody wants to join the fucking army.
Well, there's just no upside to it.
Yeah. And even worse, nobody wants to join the army as a career choice, and certainly nobody wants to join the army to die for fucking Brussels.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that we used to basically press gang criminals into the army.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, at Waterloo, Wellington, he was so condescending. He was like, look, my men are basically the wretched scum of the earth, but look at what fine fellows we make of them. Because they're all criminals. Like, they're all people who's like jail or the army, your choice.
Like, even America is actually seeing recruitment shortfalls. Fucking the United States isn't able to recruit people to their military.
Yep.
Nobody wants to join it. We've spent years, denigrating it. Why would anyone want to fight anymore?
But also, there's no plunder anymore. Like, you can't attract the kind of guys who go to war for plunder with a military that's like, no, you can't do anything, actually.
No. Well, that's the exact thing, right? Because the primary motivator for joining the army now, and you see this all in the recruitment ads, is protect our democracy. It's
human rights.
Yes, literally. And it's like, okay, you know what? That was a very persuasive argument when we in Europe could say, and in the West, we are better than Russia. We are better than China. We are freer. We have more liberties. We have a better functioning system. But today, can we say that?
No.
So militarization, very well. And the rise of the AfD. And I imagine that's going to be a problem for the socialists.
Isn't this guy worried about Russia, though?
Well, I imagine not.
There are lots of reasons to be pessimistic in this notoriously pessimistic country.
I love it. I love German leftists. There are lots of reasons to be pessimistic. Bro, I think that's just your natural disposition. I just think you'll like that all the time.
It's also an interesting little point, isn't it? So, okay. Germany, very progressive country, have had years of progressive governments, to the point now where all of its socialist institutions are why it's beginning to kneel. And yet still, it's like, there is nothing to be happy about. Everything sucks. We're circling the drain.
I mean, yeah.
You're the motherfuckers who brought us here? How are we still circling the drain?
Do we have to be circling the drain? Why is it mandatory?
But when I actually watched the video, I came away very disappointed.
Oh, I fucking imagine, yeah.
Kurzgesagt has a massive audience, and to see them miss the mark so much about one of the biggest challenges the country faces is very regrettable. So we'll take a look at this video in detail, and I'll offer my perspective on where the folks at Kurzgesagt went wrong. The structure of Kurzgesagt's video is so that 2/3 of the video are presented as a matter of fact, with lots of statistics and numbers, while the last third is called opinion and conclusion section, as if the first two sections aren't already heavily opinionated.
Absoluteness. All right.
This is really maybe my main problem with their video. This video is what happens when you try so hard to avoid sounding political that you accidentally reproduce someone else's politics as a neutral reality.
Okay, this is a fantastic, this is a very current point that I've been seeing popping up a lot. So wider society, entertainment, movies, politicians, actors. Did you see The Rock recently came out and went like, listen, I'm just an actor. I don't want to have any opinions on politics after endorsing Biden in the last election.
I didn't see him saying that, but I could completely believe that he said that.
Yep, he did say that. He was very, very political under Biden. He shot up the flare, the virtue signal. It didn't work. It earned him a massive backlash. And so now he's like, well, I'm just an entertainer. I have no opinions, etc.
I mean, I agree. You are literally just a performing monkey.
Yes. Also, chat, today's like goal, we'll set it at 1,000 to begin with to unlock a bonus. So please consider hitting the like button as we continue to rant and rave over The Rock now, which is only a minor deviation. I promise I have a point.
Not the main focus.
I promise I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay, go on.
But okay, so we've then returned to like neutrality as a virtue all of a sudden. All of a sudden, you see politicians go like, oh, political neutrality is what we need to strive for. Really?
Oh, yeah, now you're losing.
Yeah. And I've been seeing this more and more where the left is beginning to look at the mainstream and going, hold on, neutrality? That's not the right direction. You were heading in my direction. And I was yelling at you for not going fast enough. Why are you going backwards?
Because you're losing the argument.
Yes. And so now, of course, because the problem is that the neutral analysis of events is not very beneficial to the left. And so, because it is not beneficial to the left, the neutral becomes negative. It becomes conservative.
But this is always what their critique was of neutrality to begin with. Mm-hmm. Because neutrality, like if you try and give what is essentially an unbiased opinion, an assessment of facts, what it will assume is that you have normal human desires and needs. And they are instinctively conservative.
Yes, because neutrality does become the enemy of the left wing. Because if you have a neutral look at countries, then you will go, okay, well, homogenous countries seems to be doing fucking amazing. They're leading in innovation. The Western world is doing fantastic. We're richer than ever. We're more peaceful than ever. We're more prosperous than ever before in human history. Every sign points towards keep going as usual. Change nothing.
But the thing is as well, like, all of the assumptions that underpin success are essentially reactionary ones. Mm-hmm. They'll look at population growth. They'll look at, median household income and stuff like this. And it's like, okay, but that all favors a conservative society where the man is the breadwinner, the women produce children, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like that's what that all favors. And so the leftist intrinsically hates this measurement.
Yeah. And
of course, it's not the revolution.
They realize as well that if we do have the neutral worldview, if we simply observe the world, it comes out as conservative. The natural beneficial state of man appears to be our position.
And it's hardly a surprise that traditional society with traditional values is set up to accommodate what most people are and always have been throughout all of human history. Hardly a surprise, not exactly a shock that the sort of human mean, the average, is just like, essentially tribal. Like it's not a shock in any way, shape, or form.
Let's get into it then. The gist of the video is that Germany's demographic shift from young to old brings with it significant challenges. We get a summary of the issue dooming Germany, according to Kurzgesagt, in the first 30 seconds, and already here we can see the issue I just mentioned.
Germany will soon crash into the consequences of a fertility crisis made much worse by the mismanagement of the boomer generation. The demographic collapse tearing up the generational contract may soon destroy one of Germany's greatest achievements, its welfare state.
That isn't going to sit well, is it?
We shouldn't linger on that, but it's such a funny statement. One of Germany's greatest achievements, the welfare state. I mean, just think of German scientific accomplishments over the centuries. It's just like, man, the Germans are such a fucking smart people. Like, they always have been. And Kurzgesagt's like, but the welfare state.
Yeah,
that's
that too.
Not the smart thing.
The entire point is, right, Germany's being killed. By what? Its greatest achievement.
Yeah.
Okay, is it truly its greatest achievement if it's a suicide pact?
I guess it is.
Millennials, Gen Z, and younger are left with a huge mess they somehow need to sort while they're outvoted by the grey bloc making the decisions for them. What happened?
Right away, we see what
Democracy.
Kurzgesagt
Democracy. Yeah. And a victim of our own success. We are keeping people alive for far longer than we can afford to.
Yeah.
picks as the main dividing line when it comes to Germany's demographic challenges, that being young versus old. It's the old people that make the decisions and the young people getting the short end of the stick. And while I'm very sympathetic to this view as a comparatively young person in Germany as well, the fact that Germany has more
Comparatively young person in Germany.
Yeah.
and more older people isn't itself an unsolvable problem. But we'll get to that later.
Well, okay, right. I'm sure he'll return to it, but that's the problem is that is an unsolvable problem, though.
Like when Canada's solving it.
That's true. Like, depending on the options we place upon the table.
Yeah, I mean, depends how many people you're willing to allow the state to kill.
Yes, we can just start killing people, but
yeah,
like the entire problem that like you aren't replacing people, that does become an unsolvable problem. Like when you run out of people, it's kind of game over. It's a limited resource. When you're running the state like this, anyways.
We can't like encourage women to have children.
My main
What kind of
issue is
monster are you?
that starting here, Kurzgesagt's video constantly paints this picture of there isn't enough money around to support all the old people we have. But there is plenty of money around. It's just a question of how it's distributed that needs.
Bingo.
Yeah, you called it.
Okay, distributing wealth. Any bets on who we're going to be distributing this wealth from?
Well, yeah.
And also, this idea of there's plenty of money around. Oh, God. This is another part about inflation the left never understands. The idea that we can simply create money. Like, yes, you can create as much money as you need. Technically, you can literally create whatever quantity of cash you require. But when you do so, you will always reduce the value of the thing because you do not live in a bubble. The money is actually supposed to have value.
I mean, it's literally meant to represent value.
Yes.
And if you produce an infinite amount of money so it doesn't represent value, well, that's fucking worthless.
God, moving away from the gold standard was a mistake.
Yes.
To be solved. The other thing that kind of irks me is that the demographic development is put into conflict with the social safety net by them. And I don't really understand why they said social safety net here and not just pensions and healthcare, because those are the two examples the video talks about. Sure.
Well, okay, so this is a wider question here. So pension and healthcare is obviously the main thing, but the social safety net is also involved in it because the more people you have that grow older, I don't know if you know this, Sargon, but old people, we tend to develop all kinds of things that young people don't have, like painful knees and back problems and diseases.
Aversion to kids playing on my lawn.
Yes. An aging population does tend to have more problems beyond even just the immediate pension stuff. And, you know, it does wear on the social healthcare system in general, with people getting to go be pensioners far earlier, being sick more often, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Service guarantees.
Sure, pension subsidies are the largest line item of our social safety net, but you could just as easily place the demographic challenges in opposition to any other government spending, like military spending.
Can we, though?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so... Can we, though? Okay, listen here. So,
what's Germany's military spending?
I'd wager probably less than half of... Actually, let me fucking look that up.
Probably less than that. Germany's military spending is probably fuck all. It's probably like 5 hours of NHS spending. Good luck.
Federal Ministry of Finances. Overview of the federal budget and financial data. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Trends, federal expenditure, economy, federal revenue. Okay, so money in, money out. Right. Let's see. In terms of federal expenditure, consumer expenditure, operating expenditure, interest expenditure, other assets investment, fixed investment, revenue, tax revenue. I'm sure there's something here on this here. I hope so, at least.
Well, just Google how much does Germany spend on its military budget and how much does it spend on its pension system.
Motor vehicle tax. Yeah, but I want to find the specifics for the social health care stuff too. Social affairs. Defense. Oh, there we go. So defense is 57 million euros. Okay, 57 million euros. General pension insurance, 107 million euros.
Is that not billions? That's just in millions.
Yeah,
oh, right,
probably
okay,
billions.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know now.
No, it does say millions.
Cool. Yeah, about billion.
Right, okay. Well, look,
expenditure,
so
no, billion. It's billions.
It is billions.
Yeah, expenditure,
So
billions.
But it's twice as much as spent on pensions than on the military. There we go.
Yes, and that is
That's
just pensions.
Yeah.
So if we
that's
slap
not including
on
anything else.
general social security, family affairs, youth, and labor market policy is 222 billion, so 4 times as much as they spend on defense.
Why don't we spend that money on pensions? Because it won't cover it. That's why.
And also, so his argument is you could put these in opposition easily. So, okay, so it's like you can just replace general pensions and defense. Like, one, no, the numbers aren't the same, and two, this becomes like a necessity question. Okay, do we have to have a defense budget? Yes, it appears necessary. The entirety of human history suggests it is necessary. Do we need a pension system?
Ukraine.
Yeah. Do we need a pension system? Well, the majority of human history seems to suggest the opposite. So to just say that we can easily replace these two as if they are of exactly equal value is nonsense.
Well, there we go.
But they specifically picked the social safety net, echoing the conservative credo that we can't afford all those supposedly too generous welfare programs. And
well, yes, we can't afford them because apparently, according to the budget, we can't afford them.
Yeah, according to numbers.
Yes. Yeah, expenditure 465, revenue 440 billion. So yes, no, you're 25 billion pounds or euros above your spending.
Well, I'm gonna make this analogous to the concept of girl math. Like, you've heard that, right? Where women just spend money without really thinking about how much they're actually spending. This is like German socialists. Got Kraut math, and they just spend money without thinking about what money is.
Yeah. And that is exactly what it is. Like, okay, somebody goes, we can't afford this, and they go, can't we? No.
Yeah, no.
That's
why I said we can't afford it.
We're 25 billion or million or whatever the fuck. It says billions. I'm assuming billion.
I'm sure
over budget. And at that point, too, you're kind of just like, okay, this sounds like a small number. Like, oh, it's just 25. No. That's 25 like towns, basically. That is 25 billionaires. There's a few 100 millionaires and so on.
God, like, there's so much fucking money, bro. Like, and if 1% of that was put into your bank as a mistake, an accounting error in your favor, you'd be insanely rich.
And the point remains, like, this is by far the largest expenditure. Is it like, okay, right, 227. So it's almost half of the entire budget is just social security, family affairs, youth labor market policy.
Yeah.
And half of that is pensions. I was like, there's no supposedly can't afford about it. It seems to literally just be a plus-minus equation. We can't afford it.
Bro, you're going fucking bankrupt.
Safety net, but you could just as easily place the demographic challenges in opposition to any other government spending, like military spending. But they specifically picked the social safety net, echoing the conservative credo that we can't afford all those supposedly too generous welfare programs. And
supposedly too generous.
Definitely not actually too generous.
While I'm not saying that this is the opinion of the good people at Kurzgesagt that made this video, it feels
God, he's being so careful with this too. Like, he doesn't want to criticize them because he's thinking they're probably still his friends, but he's like, he's also really upset with the conclusions they've reached, apparently.
Well, he understands them to be good leftists just like him.
But not good enough, leftists, apparently.
Are you ready
Well,
to run this
yeah,
yellow
honest
mare
leftists,
fluttery
yeah.
buttery butt?
Feeds off of conservative anxieties in a very strange manner, so much so that it contradicts itself.
Conservative anxieties. We're 25 billion euros over budget. We gotta stop. Stop being such a worrywart.
I mean, that is a conservative anxiety.
It's true.
Like, give him his credit there. It's not wrong that is a conservative anxiety, but it's not like it's unfounded.
No, it seems very well founded.
At various points that we'll get to. Next up, the video points towards Germany's shrinking young population, which is completely accurate. The relation of old to young is increasingly weighted towards there being many more old people than young people. They also point out that Germany is still successful today, being one of the richest countries in the world, but also warns that all this is about to come to an end.
Despite its industrial production declining, suffocating bureaucracy, and little economic growth, Germany's system is still chugging along, and it remains one of the richest countries. The country still has a big population.
And they're still like, okay, yeah, it remains one of the richest countries. Absolutely. The entirety of Europe is suffering the same malaise.
Yeah, it's a rich country for now.
Yes. The thing is here, like,
Pharisees, the
they are not the dying man of Europe. They're not Turkey. We're all Turkey.
yeah, exactly.
So, literally, they're one of the richest countries in comparison to the dying man of the West in general, and Africa, Asia. Like, this comparison doesn't really work because we're all heading down the exact same fucking drain.
Well, I mean, the thing is, those countries that Africa and Asia, do they have welfare states like we do?
Oh God!
And the answer is no. Of course they don't. They can't. They have societies that couldn't prop up such systems for a day. You know, so essentially, our sort of low time preference, high trust societies are killing themselves. And at some point, like the African will be like, okay, we don't have any of this. We've never had any of this, but we do have a huge population because you kept feeding us. And we don't understand why you don't just do whatever it is we do. Like when the European is gone and the world like is left to the African, like, it'll just go back to how it was 10,000 years ago.
Population and a big workforce, along with generous social benefits and pension payouts. But soon, the reality of demographics and boomer mismanagement will hit Germany like a freight train.
Before we move forward here, this is the
Fire
second
is the
example
answer.
of this seemingly conservative view of German fiscal policy, specifically describing Germany's welfare benefits and pension payouts as, quote, generous. Normally, I wouldn't.
Aren't they? Are
No.
they not generous?
Well, compared to Norway's, probably not. You know how I feel about Norway.
I mean, we are too much. That's true. But okay. So what is it here? That's not it. Social security in Germany. Explain. Because we looked into this last time and we discovered that basically if you're working a minimum wage, you're paid almost exactly as much as if you were on social security. So, I don't know. That sounds pretty generous to me, to be paid a living wage for doing nothing. That sounds pretty good.
Sounds fucking mental, and we shouldn't do it. We should be basically conscripting all of the people on benefits into the army.
Let's see. Each party can't...
It's the only way to save the economy, Arch.
Oh, this is is it 8,000 euros per month?
What?
Living allowance known as unemployment benefit, help in finding work, training, 12 months.
There's
Don't
no way
find
that can be 8,000. That's not 8,000 euros
There we go.
a month.
You know, that was the contribution. 2026, the maximum monthly benefit amount is 3,000 euros.
That's still a lot.
Yes, that's still a lot. That's 3,000 euros for
36
free.
36 grand a year.
Yep. I mean, again, like that's quite a bit. And I bet you that there's probably things like housing benefits as well.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. Housing benefits. Housing benefits, social benefit for people in low income. It's a subsidized intent to help the recipient pay rent. Yes, indeed. I figured as much. So, I mean, I would say 3,000 euros for free a month is pretty goddamn generous.
I mean, most of my adult life, when I was working, I wasn't earning that much.
Yeah, and then you get rent as well.
Wouldn't take too much of an issue with this, although in my opinion it's not very generous. But this video is released.
It's not very generous. And compared to?
At a moment where there is a total all-out assault on the German social safety net by our conservative government, and thus feeds into the viewpoint that our welfare benefits are too generous.
Based.
Yeah.
Next up, the video talks about the challenges caused by a shrinking population, all of which are broadly true. But then the video talks about the pension system, and here we get to a section of the video that is very strange.
But the much more urgent issue is retirees. Germany has a pay-as-you-go pension system, which means that about 20%.
Okay, so everything's true, but it's conservative.
Of their salaries is directly paid out to pensioners. This sort of worked in the 1960s when there were 5 working Germans for every retiree. But in 2024, this ratio is down to about 2.5. In the 2030s, it will get closer to 2 workers for 1 pensioner. And about 10 years after retirement, people tend to get really sick and cause the vast majority of healthcare costs. The math ain't mathing, and it actually never really did.
There are 2 things I really dislike about this section. First off, it presents the pressure on the German pension system and how to relieve it as a pure math problem, when it's very much...
Is it not?
I would have thought like a German would have been like, I'm much more comfortable just dealing with raw numbers.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like, what people need to understand is that a country's economy is, in technicality, no different than your own economy. It's literally is a plus-minus equation at the end of the day. You earn this much, you use this much. And you can borrow money to cover what you don't earn, but just like as a private individual, that's then going to turn into yet further expenses via interests payment and so on. Now,
I feel like we're going to get some good kraut maths here.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not a math problem. Very well.
A political one. What I mean by that is that it's not the amount of workers paying into the system that ultimately counts, but wealth created by those workers. And while the ratio of workers to pensioners has shifted as the...
Okay, but that doesn't change anything. Like, there's...
What he wants is a system where a single employee can be so fucking productive that they can support 10 boomers.
I mean, I suppose, but good luck, I guess.
Obviously, he's not going to fucking get it.
Described in the video, productivity has risen enormously since the 1970s.
See?
And, well, there's two. Like, it's not that productivity has risen. It is the fact that we have larger automated factories. And who built those larger automated fucking factories? Who invested in those?
Evil capitalist.
And even then, again, like, productivity has risen. Yes, inflation has risen right alongside it. I imagine the majority of that is wiped out simply by the rise in inflation.
But even with the sort of best will in the world and all the automation you can possibly imagine, I find it unlikely that one person will be able to support 10 boomers.
In other words, while there are less workers, the wealth they produce has gone up substantially. Unfortunately, rising productivity is barely brought up in the video at all. And all we get is a reductive, the math isn't math.
Because it's not going to happen, bro. It's not going to happen that fucking one person will be able to support 10 boomers on their own.
Yeah, because again, like, I get the argument, oh, we could automate more. Sure, but we aren't. Like, this doesn't... The math isn't mathing because we're looking at the math right now and the math isn't mathing.
Unlike a German leftist, we can count.
So we're going to make 25 billion more in... Okay.
Please keep that sentence in mind for later. And even that statement is very weird because if you really only wanted to look at numbers and financial burden, you would not only look at the workers to retirees ratio, but at the youth, elderly, and overall coefficient. Because young people cost money too. Their education costs money, the benefits their parents receive cost money, and so on. So there being less young people also eases the financial burden on society, and if we take that into account, we can...
That is the most backwards-ass statement I think I've ever heard.
No. This is the socialist view on investment.
I mean,
why would I need to worry about the future when I can look at right now?
Because he is right. Having less people that you need to educate is cheaper than having more people that you need to educate. Correct.
And that's how it will stay forever.
That just means that you're going to be producing less and less as time goes on.
Yeah.
And there's going to be fewer and fewer people propping up an ever-growing number of fucking... okay, never mind.
You can see that
No. In his defense, eventually that will plateau out, right? Because obviously if no one had kids in like 50 years' time, those very few remaining children who are the last people in the entire fucking economy, well, it won't take much to prop them up.
It's true.
I don't know who's going to do the propping up, but at least technically there's a truth to it.
Yeah, if we just start really producing a lot of robot workers, then the dwindling German populace will be able to thrive off them.
Sir?
Amazing.
Our coefficient today is about as high as it was in the 1970s, when, according to Kurzgesagt, the system broadly worked out.
And what
But
were
he
the
just said it
pension
didn't.
benefits in the 1970s?
But he also just said it never really did. It's just that what was happening is that Germany was working on borrowed time. It was spending accrued capital in the form of people who had children already.
So firstly, I guarantee you, there were not as many benefits in 1970. And secondly, yes, when you simply, I don't think he understands the own trap he's created for himself here. Like, okay, so it worked at one point when there were less benefits and more people working. Now there are fewer people working and more benefits, and there will only ever be fewer people working. And the benefits are also likely only to increase. Not to mention, you can even see his own stats here. So that's... Gesamtquit. I'm assuming that's young. I don't read fucking German. I'm assuming that's old. And you can see the gap is increasing, too.
I thought you did read German.
Not read. I can speak some of it, but not read.
Yeah. Well, I only lived in Germany for 8 years, so I can't be expected to speak or read German.
That's true.
Even in 2070, according to this projection by the Federal Institute for Population Research, the overall coefficient is only slightly higher than today, which...
But it is higher. That's the problem. That's the problem they're making. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. Even if we assume you're correct, that it's only going to get slightly worse, it's going to get worse.
But why don't we just ignore the linear procession of time and focus on this one spot here where it doesn't look too terrible? I mean, look at the bump at 2030, and it just carries on going up. Fucking hell, man.
Which, again, can be offset by increasing productivity.
Yeah, but are we likely to, though?
Infinite productivity, Arch.
Next point.
Already in the 1970s, governments began to subsidize the pension funds with tax revenue, pushing the problem into the future, as has more or less every single government since then.
God, that is exactly the argument he just made. Push the problem further into the future. Hope technology will fix it.
Yeah, no. And he's also saying, look, if civilization is running on a treadmill, and we've been running at a reasonable pace for the last 200 years, we've decided that we're just going to sort of start increasing that pace. Well, why don't we just crank it up? We'll just increase the productivity. As a German, I'll work 15-hour days if I have to, he says. If it supports one more boomer and one more foreigner on fucking benefits. And it's you know what? I actually don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's not how I want to live.
Yeah, I thought the entire point was the move towards luxury space communism where we worked less.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Why does productivity have to increase all the time?
Get in the productivity mines.
He's starting to sound like a big old capitalist here, frankly.
Well, the future is today.
This clip is a very good example of what I called conservative framing earlier. Because our authors clearly state that since the 1970s, the German governments have just been kicking the can down the road instead of solving the math, I guess. It frames a broadening of the financial obligation as an irresponsible bailout and boomer mismanagement. But that framing already assumes the conclusion. Why should pensions be financed only or even primarily through wage-based social contributions? Why?
Okay.
It's the only way to do it, but yeah, good question. Why? Why
is the obligation placed so heavily on employees paying payroll contributions, ultimately financing the system, while wealth, inheritance, property income, capital gains, and the highest incomes are treated as if they were somehow outside the social contract?
We can tell you that quite easily. It's going to be really, really easy. I bet it's because it wouldn't last 5 fucking minutes.
Right. So we arrive at the let's just take the money from the rich people argument, which was pretty inevitable.
Yeah. But I bet the answer is it just wouldn't last.
So let's see. All right. So the corporate tax in Germany is 15%. So we're already taxing corporations.
Yep.
Let's see. Is there a capital gains tax in Germany? Stupid question, but let's find out.
Yeah, no. How much is the capital gains tax in Germany? Is the
Capital
question.
gains tax. Germany is at 25%.
Ooh,
So,
that's rough.
right, we're already taxing the corporations. We're already taxing capital gains. So we're doing the things he's suggesting, and the math still isn't mathing.
Yeah, but that's only 25%.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
to
we can
run
increase
it.
Mayor's
Yeah, why isn't it
fluttery
50%,
blood?
Arch?
Like, I wonder, what are them? Okay, let's see. The richest people in Germany. 40, okay, 80, 100. Okay, so if we... Oh, God, that's quite a lot. If we seize the combined fortune of the 25 richest people in Germany, we would have enough to fund the German state for about a year.
Told you.
So, yes, this is the eternal counter-argument to why don't we just take the rich people's money. It's because there isn't enough money to fucking take.
Yeah, they're rich compared to you on a personal level, right? And don't get me wrong, on a personal level, they're very fucking rich compared to you. They're not like rich compared to a state on a national level.
Okay.
Especially if you expect that state to run at any point in the future. Like, you know, if you're like, okay, well, it'll be an ongoing thing. Like, you know, Norway's oil will eventually run out, right? So the Norwegian oil fund, they're looking at it like that. They're looking at thinking, oh, right, well, you know, we can just have this massive bank that we continually draw pensions from. So, okay, well, one, that's obviously not a renewable resource. But two, you've got a year. Have fun.
Later in this video, Kurzgesagt rightfully points to an overburdening of young people by the pension system, but seemingly also rejects sharing the burden more evenly across society in this section. The video also does not spell out what these supposed...
Heresies
It is in the nature of a pension system that the young are burdened with the pensions.
And his definition, it's the definition of it, in fact.
Well, what else could it be?
I mean, corporations, I guess. I guess that's the argument. We should just simply shift the burden over onto the corporations. Which,
Maybe,
okay,
and then...
the problem here is too, like, okay, right. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that there's enough money in the corporations and in capital gains to pay for the system, right? But we also need to increase productivity because we do have a widening gap. So we need to increase productivity while simultaneously making companies less profitable.
Yeah. That's how productivity goes up.
I don't know if this is how this works. I question.
I get the feeling there's a reason that Kurzgesagt can't avoid the conservative inevitable truth of this,
Yes.
which is it ain't gonna last, bro.
The conservative propaganda appears yet again to be reality.
Yeah, based on actual fucking numbers.
mathematically honest alternative would actually be if the pension system, ideally, is only allowed to pay out what comes in through social contributions from current workers, then you only have two options. Raising those contributions, which the video's authors reject, or slash benefits. And just to reiterate this, I'm not saying the authors personally want to gut the welfare state, but this framing feeds into...
I hope they are.
Yeah, I hope that's exactly what they're fucking saying.
Exactly that politics. It presents public pension obligations as an unsustainable burden while leaving untouched the much larger question of who owns Germany's wealth and who should contribute to Social Security. Once you say that, the only real...
hang on. No. Listen to that framing. Incredible framing. Who owns Germany's wealth?
Yes.
The wealth belongs to Germany ultimately, but who currently has that wealth? Oh, those evil, hard-working people who took payments, who bought stocks, who speculated and founded businesses, who labored, who employed other people, and who, through no fault of their own, had enough money to actually live. Like, fucking hell. He's framing it as if all we do is steal money from the gestalt entity that is Germany. Fuck yourself, you fucking commie. Honestly.
Well, again, because this is the consistent socialist framework in that the wealth exists a priori of any action taken to create or extract it. And so any amount of that money being used for capitalist pursuits is obviously then immoral. It's you shouldn't do that. It should all go to the people. Despite the fact, again, that none of that wealth would actually exist without that capitalist investing in building the company first.
Yeah, I mean, you did the work to steal Germany's money, is what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Available for the pension system comes out of payroll contributions, then cutting pensions starts to look like realism, and the redistribution of wealth starts to look like cheating. That is...
Okay, well, it's not just cheating. It's impossible. Like, if we're going to pay for this using income, we can't do it. And you've already admitted we can't do it. So we have to slash benefits. Okay. So the only question then is, what is the alternative?
It's exactly what we see from conservatives and right-wingers who scaremonger about exploding pension obligations with the transparent aim of gutting the welfare state. And this is not just Germany, where this line of argument is brought out to cut benefits and...
No, it's every country, because every country is having the exact same fucking problem.
I'm just starting to wonder if maybe those conservatives, evil as they are, might be onto something.
It's a pretty consistent fucking trend.
Yeah.
Pits the have-nots against each other. Here is a clip from Elon Musk talking about Social Security on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligation. So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it'll be much worse in the future.
As I mentioned,
yeah, because the cost will only go up, but the money earned will only go down. Again, you can overcomplicate this very easy by bringing in all of the economic nonsense, but the simple reality of the matter is there will be a larger minus and a smaller plus.
Yeah, it's not even contestable either. Like, unless he's suggesting that Germany's population is going to start organically growing, or migrants are going to stop, like, taking from the public purse or something like that. What's his counter-argument?
I'm still waiting for it.
Mentioned previously, the video is not released in a vacuum. So for Kurzgesagt to release a video that doesn't challenge the underlying assumptions that lead to these bad policy prescriptions like cutting benefits or raising the retirement age is very unfortunate, to say the least.
They're not bad assumptions.
Yeah, again, it's tragic that Kurzgesagt is representing reality accurately, but...
Yeah, I'm sorry this is happening to you.
What is the alternative?
Next up, the video makes the line of separation in society that it alluded to earlier explicit in pitting the young against the old.
In 2025, the German federal government spent roughly a quarter of its annual tax revenues to fix holes in the pension system. On top,
Fuck.
I think that's the same right now. It's an expenditure 465, and the pension system is alone is 100. So yeah, it's little under a quarter of their total budget on pensions.
top of the working population's payments. Let's say that again. 1 in 4 German tax euros is used to pay out pensions today. More than on education, research, infrastructure, and defense combined. The wealth of the nation is redistributed from the young and the working to the old and retired.
To showcase just how
Yeah?
much
Why
this
is
section...
3 arrows in like massive boomer damage control mode? No,
Because-
you don't understand. The boomers need your money. The vampiric boomers must have your money. Like Rupert Lowe called out the boomers on Joe Rogan's podcast the other day. He said exactly this. Like, actually, we've got to stop. You know, my generation have to stop being a vampiric class on the young. Great point, Rupert. It's hurting the young. 3 arrows is like, no, not my boomers.
of the video is off the mark, I'd like to show you a graph from an article written by 2 economists that I will link in the description. The black line represents the gross domestic product per capita in Germany since the 1970s. The blue line represents average wages before tax, and the red line represents the average pension of a German citizen after paying into the pension system for 45 years. While the GDP per capita has been going up steadily, wages have clearly lagged behind, and pensions, adjusted for buying power, have pretty much been stagnant since the 90s. If we contrast that with the share of wealth for the upper 10% of society since the 90s,
Yeah?
we can see that it's not so that the wealth created from the working class is going to the pockets of the old, but it's filling the pockets of the wealthiest in society. Now,
No. Now get the population pyramid up. Seriously.
Now, the question is, this is the thing right there. Because why are wages not going up? Why aren't wages not going up? Hey,
Lots of reasons. Immigration, inflation.
let's see here. So, Germany
Ignorant
immigration
slut.
percentage of population. Oh, is that can't be real?
It's so
That
bad.
is
that cannot
fucking
be accurate.
real. Fuck.
God.
Can I load this picture? This seems like a very racist picture.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I understand enough German to see what this says. Let's see. I'm just gonna have to screenshot it. There we go. So this is the percentage of the population with an
Fire is
immigrant
the answer.
background.
Oh, yeah.
So the AfD Germany side of Germany is like no, and the liberal side is yes, and 32%.
I went to East Germany last year. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Honestly, idyllic. It was like driving around the best of the English countryside, you know. I remember West Germany before immigration. That was also lovely. Dread to think what it's like now.
Are you ready to rut this yellow mare's
Now, this
fluttery,
is the
buttery
reason
butt?
here why wages do not seem to be tracking with GDP. It's because there's too many people, not enough jobs, and this is an employer's market. They can pick and choose, frankly.
Yep. And guess who's willing to work for cheap?
now, believe me, I get it. The line that it's the boomers that leech off the working
Oh, and like, here's the other thing too, right? So if you got rid of this, one, income would come up. So the previous line for income, wages would go up because there are fewer people. Therefore, labor is more valuable. Basic supply and demand. Secondly, that would also then mean that pensions would go up because right now you can't pay the pensions. That's why pensions don't go up, because you can't afford to pay the pensions. The pensions are already more than you can afford, even if you say the pensions are too little. The only way to make pensions go up is to try and tie them to income. And tying them to income means you need to actually have few enough people to sustain high wages, enough for the pay the pensions you want, and that also then requires enough jobs to be created to employ those people.
But what if we put Turks in those jobs and they send money back to Turkey?
Then the money will simply disappear into the fucking void.
Ah, really? Hadn't considered that.
young is very seductive. And I myself used to say stuff like this frequently. The problem with that framing
But then it became a conservative talking point, and now it's kryptonite.
And the problem with that framing is it's true.
is that it obfuscates the real, much more meaningful dividing line in German society. And to make it more explicit, I'll give you two statistics. 42% of German pensioners receive less than €1,000 pension per month. That's roughly 8 million people. A tenth of
Less than 1,000 per month. That is, to be fair, pretty rough. €250 a week.
Yeah, okay, but what percentage of those people don't have a mortgage?
Overwhelming majority, I would imagine.
Exactly, almost all of them. What's the single largest fucking payment you make every month, Arch?
Not a mortgage. I own.
Oh, well, fuck you. for those peasants among us who are still working in the labour mines under the heel of the man, it's our fucking mortgage.
I can't believe you have a mortgage.
Well, yeah.
Sargon's been spending all of his money on the slots machines, probably.
Don't actually make as much as you think.
the
I'm not a very
population
good
of
capitalist.
Not a very good capitalist, no. You
Yeah.
need to do like the other German we watched a few weeks ago and move to Cyprus.
I probably do, but I really want to live in England.
the entire country
And moving to
are
Cyprus makes that really difficult.
Ignorant
It's
slut.
true.
clearly not winners in the system, despite them being old. At the same time, two families
Oh, and that's the thing too,
No. That is not clear because not only, okay, yeah, The average pension is, say, €1,000 a month or whatever, right? But again, you don't know what other investments they have. You don't know what other income, like they might have private incomes. If you're talking about just purely state pensions, sure, that's not a lot of money. But again, a lot of them are going to have private pensions and corporate pensions and whatnot. They're going to have money saved from when they were in the workforce, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're acting as if every German pensioner is a fucking pauper, but that's not the case. Like in England, they're going to be the wealthiest demographic that's ever existed.
Quite likely. And even the ones who are just receiving pension, and there are going to be some of those as well who are just receiving pension because they didn't put away any money, they don't have any additional family, they don't have any investments, etc. I mean, if anything, that is a failure of the capitalist system, I guess, to make them invest more money, to build more.
At the end of the day, they're going to have to live frugally, aren't they?
Place
Just
in Germany.
life.
2 families own as much wealth as the bottom 50% of the country. 45 people own as much as 42 million.
Yes.
And if you take that away from them, then no one will own it.
Really not winners
go back
in
to
the
that,
system,
no.
despite them being old. At the same time, 2 families in Germany, 2 families own as much wealth as...
So, there you have the two families that own as much wealth as the rest of the cameras. So that's 52 to 101 million. So that's enough to cover the social budget for 1 year. In fact, it'll fall slightly short of covering the insurance system for 1 year. And Boher Ringer German family. I wonder what they've done. Is the parent company of the Boehringer Ingelheim Group, was founded in 1885 by Albert Boehringer in Rhine, Germany. Operates globally with more than 54,000 employees in 76 countries. So this one family employed 50,000 people.
It's worth really highlighting the wealth does not mean money. There's a lot of the wealth that they're talking about here will be valuations, estimates. What is expected to be paid if it were all sold. But that does not mean it will be. That does not mean you'll get what you think you're going to get for it. And that does not mean they've got all of that money just sat in the bank.
Now, obviously, most of this is investments. So this is the value of the company itself rather than just money.
Yes.
But
Exactly.
okay. I wanted to do a quick little thing here. So, the minimum wage in Germany is apparently 14 euros. Okay? 14 euros, and the work time in a year is 1,340 hours. So that is 18,000 euros. Let's round it up to 19,000 just for shits and giggles. And then they employed 52,000 people. So 50,000 people. That means that this company is producing about €1 billion of wealth on a yearly basis in salaries alone.
For the people who work for them.
Yes, for the people who work for them. This one family is producing €1 billion fucking euros a year for the people who work for them. Now, I'm sure not all of them are going to be in Germany, etc., because they're in several countries and so on. Sure. But it gives you an idea that this family is producing in 1 year. Oh, there we go, actually. Okay, so this is the Ingelheim Group, right? Revenue, 27.8 billion. That is how much money. So they pay $1 billion in just salaries, assuming minimum wage, which most of them aren't going to be working for, of course, because this big company.
Near.
Yep. Then they're paying taxes on that, 15% on their income, on their actual earnings and the revenue. This one company is producing more wealth than these families, far more wealth than these families.
But moreover, I've got this experience at work, right? Because I employ, I don't know, 15, 16 people, something like that. And like the younger lads who work for me are buying houses, right? And it's like, well, how is that possible? Well, that's possible because we have a steady job and the job produces wealth that they get a cut of, and that is sufficient for them to actually buy property.
Yes.
In their like 20s and 30s. Like this is a sensible fucking system. They work really hard. They deserve it when they get paid. And if I can give them I love giving them bonuses as well, by the way. I'm very happy to give bonuses because they work really fucking hard. And that means they get to buy houses. That means they get to impress women. That means they get to start families. That means they get to be productive members of society. And that's good. But technically, that's all under quote unquote my net wealth. But that's not money in my bank.
No. This is not money that is in the bank. This is money that is being spent in corporations. It is in value. It is in assets. It is in stocks. And that asset, those values, those companies are paying off far more than the actual value of the company itself. So this is not like a one-to-one. Like, that family created something. That family created 52,000 jobs.
Mad,
As the bottom 50% of the country, 45 people own as much as 42 million.
And that is entirely fine. I wish those 42 million would also create 50,000 jobs each. That would be fucking fantastic.
Because
what
what
it's pretty
he's doing
unlikely.
there is he's essentially comparing the most efficient job creators to people who work in those jobs.
Yes.
So yes, young people are overburdened, but they are not overburdened mainly to the benefit of merely the old. They are overburdened in favor of enormous private wealth being protected. Another example that calls this framing into question.
Private wealth being protected. Ooh, evil. Oh, shut up.
Private wealth being protected. Again, corporation tax 15%, sales tax, what, another 15, maybe 25%. I want to... Do they have a wealth tax in Germany? I hope not.
I don't think they do. I mean, it won't be called that now. Well, thanks anyway.
What German wealth tax? I think they... Do they? I'm not getting a straight answer. No, they don't. No wealth tax at the moment. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, me too, actually, but at the moment.
Is Germany's inheritance tax, which sometimes is called the idiot tax.
Oh, they have an inheritance tax. Okay, what's the inheritance tax?
Sir?
The inheritance tax is... Oh, fuck me!
What?
7 to 50%.
Oh, fuck off! I hate fucking governments. 50 fucking percent. Fucking ravenous beast.
Okay, so right. So spouse partner children pay a minimum of 7% on 75,000 euros, up to a 30% 26 million euros. So, okay, well, that family was worth like 40 million, right? So already, if they die, they're going to take fucking 30%. And unmarried partners is up to 50% over 6 million.
Fucking hell.
Like, okay,
The
yeah.
state just wants you dead.
They're protecting wealth to the tune of 50 fucking percent goes to the state.
Well, I mean, the other 50% doesn't.
That's the kind of protection I could be happy without, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather live in the state of nature, thank you very much. Take my chances
Because it's so
with the
easy to
animals.
bypass the inheritance tax for the wealthy. The work that a person does, regardless of whether they are a Zoomer or a Boomer, is...
Okay, so you can technically get around it, but can you technically get around it? Like, he just says this, but then doesn't expand upon it. In my experience with the government is usually very good at getting what is owed.
Yeah, weirdly, they're spot on, aren't they? You can't get them to fill a pothole, but you miss one council tax payment.
It's much more heavily taxed than inheritances or capital gains. To make matters worse, later in the video, Kurzgesagt points out that Germany is...
Well, actually, no, it's not, because inheritance is actually more heavily taxed than living the basic income if you're not married, spouse, etc. But okay.
already a, quote, high-tax country, which is true for work. I'll give you an example. Germany's income tax is progressive. After
Are
the
you
taxfree
ready to
allowance,
wreck
the
this
marginal rate
yellow
rises
mare's
from 14% to 42%.
buttery butt?
Fucking hell, that is disgusting. Oh,
and then to 45%
Imagine
for
being
very
at fucking 66,000 and your boss is like, yeah, I'm going to give you a raise. You're like, no, you're fucking not.
please not.
No, I'm sure it's not that big a jump. You know, I'm sure it's more progressive than that, isn't it?
I hope so.
It's
the high
got to be.
incomes. In 2025, the 42% marginal rate starts at a taxable income above roughly 68,000 euros for a single person. And that is only income tax. Social contributions for pensions, health insurance, unemployment insurance, and long-term care come on top of that 42% tax.
Oh
So-
my god.
So,
Sorry, can we go back 6 so we can get the graph back up?
all right. There.
Right, there we go. Right, so you're on 68,000, so we'll just round up to 70,000, and you lose 40% of that.
Yeah.
So you're down to 40 grand.
And all of this, again, like,
Fucking hell.
the point we're kind of missing here is that why are they paying this tax? It is because of the pension scheme, which is the law. It's 1/4 of it. So without the pension scheme, you could drop 10% of that at least, down to 30 odd.
But then on top of that, it's now you've got your wealth, various other whatever contributions. So that's gonna be another like 10% or something, and it's just
Yep.
like, holy shit, man! I hate everything.
And this doesn't take into account things like sales tax or property tax and all the other things.
Yeah. And then just charges to get stuff done. Like, oh my god, like everything. Fucking hell.
health insurance, unemployment insurance, and long-term care come on top of that 42% tax. So looking at that, you could come away thinking Germany is a very high tax country, but only
Yeah, I
looking at
do.
I do come away thinking Germany is a very high tax country. True.
labor is taxed, misses the mark for all the stuff that isn't taxed nearly as high. Take, for instance, wealth derived from income like capital gains, interest, and dividends, i.e. money made not from working, but from owning.
Well, so this is on the same thing. Money not made from working. That is true in the labor sense, but this is actually money put into the economy to facilitate labor. This money creates labor, because without the money, there is no labor.
And also, like, he's acting as if there was like some sort of random stroke of fortune. Like, oh, I just happened to come across stocks or whatever, the capital that I'll make gains on. Like, this was just laying around in the woods and I just happened to be the guy who was fortunate enough to pick it up. It's like, no, that's a product of a process of people working really fucking hard to get to it. Like, they've put in work to get to that point, mate. They don't just magic up these fucking things for no reason.
And even then, like, we already looked at the capital gains tax. It's 25%. That is 25% on something that the government has no involvement in creating whatsoever. That is just... I mean, if we're accepting his framing that that's just free money, right? That is the government claiming 25% of free money for absolutely nothing.
So much.
Also, chat, we're 200 likes away from today's goal of 1,000. Please, I beg of you, hit the like button.
Click like, or we're going to raise your fucking taxes.
We're working on gamifying this system. You click like, we get more viewers, we become more popular. We become the voice of reason. We take over the world.
You don't click like, we raise your taxes. We report you to the government. They're going to raise your taxes.
We're going to take over
It's
the
in
world
everyone's best
anyway.
interest. Yeah.
But your taxes are still open for debate.
Just click like.
For those, you pay a flat 25% tax rate. Made 80,000 euros from your labor, anything above the threshold gets the 42% tax plus social contributions. Made 80,000 euros from capital gains, that's 26.4% tax, including solidarity charge, and no social contributions.
Yeah, but this is so insufferable, right? So if I work for 10 years and save as much money as I can after I've been taxed out of my fucking ass for that 10 years, and then I'm like, right, I'm going to buy some stocks, and I make a bunch of money on those stocks, it's not like that just fucking fell out the sky. Like, it's not like I didn't labor to get to that point.
Yep. And so there is 5% sour charge for solidarity. What the fuck is a solidarity supercharge? What the fuck is that?
It's going to be for social justice.
What kind of communist shit is this? So there's a tax that's 25%.
It's going to be communist shit, Arch.
And then there's an additional 5% solidarity charge. What the fuck does that even mean?
Communism.
Well, yes, that is what it means.
It's literally what it means. It's a German communism charge.
Just raise my tax by 5%, I guess. Why this extra step?
Communism. We already covered this.
And this tax rate does not go up progressively like the income tax of an average worker. Whether you are making 80 or 800,000 euros from capital gains, it's 25% plus 1.4% solidarity charge.
But that also means the opposite. Right? That means that if you earn 1,000 euros, they take a quarter of that.
Yeah. But also, just to be clear, all this does is highlights the injustice of the progressive tax.
Yes, it certainly does do that.
This isn't an argument as to why we should apply this unjust tax.
You worked hard?
You were successful, were you? Well, not on our watch.
You did well? You feel rewarded for your actions? No! The government is coming.
But also, another thing I love about this framing, this whole thing is framed, right, as if, essentially, money is like the blood supply of an animal, right? And as far as he's concerned, earning money is like taking the blood supply of Germany away. It's like, no, retard, right? If I make money, I don't just hoard it like Scrooge McFucking Duck, right? I actually spend that money on other people's labor. And so other people make money when I make money because I actually spend that money on goods and services. And again, it's called an economy.
The entire argument that you need to effectivize the system. Okay, you do that by putting money into the system. Okay, we complain about the pensioners not having enough money. Okay, right. Either you can go to the pensioners and the people and say, invest your money, which, by the way, everyone should do. Seriously. Everybody should have a managed fund with some money left over that you can afford to lose. If the entire market collapses tomorrow, which it never has, incidentally, but on the off chance, because it is what all of the rich people do. That is how rich people become rich people and stay rich people. And you are rewarded for it. You can write your losses off on your taxes in most countries. It is a good system. And if anything, we should teach more people to engage with it because it makes everything a little bit better. It gives companies more money. It gives you more money. But, again, this also means then that the pensioner is also going to get punished even harder. Right now, if a pensioner invests some of his money in stocks, the government takes a quarter of it for shits and giggles. If we just raise the income, well, they just take more of his money, won't they? And if there's a progressive level, okay, you're just going to discourage investment yet further. And what are you going to get out of all of this? I wonder if we know, a
really resentful population. That's what you get. People who are just fucking angry.
I wonder if there's a number on how much capital gains were generated in Germany in the course of a year. Nothing easily available, no. But regardless, there'll be a hell of a lot less of it if you start taxing it more and more.
This shows that it's really political decisions that overburden labor as the funding base for society, while wealth is privileged. It's not just demographics and math that...
And again, though, okay, overburden society. Again, let's assume that the top 25 richest people in Germany, all of their money, we slap on an additional tax on top of that of another, 40%, right? You're still only going to be earning a few billion more a year. You're still very much so short of the money you're spending. There isn't enough money. That's the core problem we never overcome. Even if we start taking the rich people's money, there isn't enough of it.
The thing is, right? He's assuming that the total amount of money in the system is always going to be there. The system is forever growing, right? And so we can just siphon it off. But it's like, okay, that might be true to a certain percentage point. It's like, okay, we could always just siphon off 10% of the money of the system for redistributive work. And the system continues to grow at a healthy pace, right? Yeah, maybe. That might be true, right? But when you've got to 40%, then the money that was used to grow the system is not growing the system, so the system begins to shrink. It's really not very complicated.
Yeah, you're taking money out of the system. It's yet another short-term solution for a long-term problem.
This pressure on our welfare system. Next clip.
And as the boomers retire, this will only get worse. It's money that could be spent on things that help the young and the working part of the population, like incentives to start a family, lower taxes, free childcare, cheap loans to buy homes, investments in education, infrastructure, or clean energy. There are so many things that would help young Germans. But will millennials and Gen Z get to enjoy similar pensions at least? Well, it's not very likely.
With this section, Kurzgesagt unfortunately again just echoes the conservative mantra that, of course, we really want to establish things that would help working people, but we just don't have the money to do so because of our generous welfare state.
And we don't. Like, okay, even assuming that we did want to spend all of that money on additional incentives, which you could argue there could be some benefits for it, and it would cost a lot less than the general pension system, we don't have enough money. We don't have enough money now. We might have some money if we cut in the pension system, but the truth remains, we don't have the money. We've repeated this argument many, many times now, and it hasn't changed. Germany hasn't grown any richer.
The fact that the politicians that constantly moan about social benefits don't even have an interest in spending money on things like free childcare. It's a conservative fig leaf because they really have no problem spending money on other priorities.
It's like, well, this too is nonsense, though, because no, conservative politicians do indeed want to spend money on this stuff. They have a history of spending money on this stuff. How do you think we got to this massive bloated system that we've gotten in the first place? Just 100 years of absolute left-wing dominance? We have loads of these systems, and we might very well like to have more of these systems too, and they cost a hell of a lot less as well. I mean, you can even look at the systems already exist here. Benefits, government housing and heating, social benefits, etc., etc. Health, environment, sports, recreations, housing, urban development, and so on. And none of it even comes close to pension insurance.
We really have to establish a sort of baseline acceptable level of poverty, right?
Yes.
We've got to say, no, this is the acceptable level. And we've got to be able to stick to it. Because otherwise we are just going to consume ourselves with social spending.
Yes. And there is such a thing as an acceptable level of poverty. Like in Norway, you are defined as poor if you can't go on a vacation to a foreign country. It's like, no, that is not the definition of poverty.
Priorities. For instance, by 2029, Germany's defense spending is scheduled to rise to 3.5% of our GDP, which amounts to slightly over 150 billion euros, which if
oh damn, it'll actually surpass the insurance benefit then.
If you paid attention, is actually more than the amount of taxes currently subsidizing the pension system. And I guarantee you, no one will call that type of spending unsustainable. Now you
well, you know what? He does have a point there. Like, Germany can't really afford this either. But then it becomes yet again the question, what do you want to prioritize? Do you want to prioritize your pension system, or do you want to prioritize remaining a country?
Well, that's the point. I've got the perfect synthesis, right? We need defense spending to protect our welfare state, Germany's greatest achievement.
That's true. And I want to point out, too, stuff like this will also negatively affect the economy. That is another 100 billion that Germany doesn't have, which means more inflation, less for everybody else, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you need defense more so than you need social security.
Oh, you guys worried about Russia?
The only reason why every country in Europe has been able to just ignore defense spending is because they've relied on the Americans' defense spending for all these years.
Yep.
You might say, well, that type of military spending actually is necessary. Fine. I don't agree, but fine. In the same time period.
hang on. What? Why don't you agree, buddy? What? You don't think it's necessary to keep Putin out of Europe?
No, definitely not.
Right, okay.
Until 2029, the recently passed corporate and business tax reform will reduce public revenue by roughly 48 billion euros. As a comparison, that is roughly the amount you would need to renovate every single school in the entire country. So,
and why are they doing that? Because if we look at that, Corporate tax relief package. So you mentioned how you wanted people to be more productive. Well, this is how you get more productive people. By giving the corporations more of their money, by allowing them to keep more of their money and invest more of their money and hire more people. This is how your economy grows. Without this, your economy remains stagnant. And the gap, like, this is literally the attempt to close the gap, to produce more money, to earn more money in long-term taxes.
I love that socialists live in absolute fantasy land. Like, it's genuinely amusing to me.
Roughly 48 billion euros. As a comparison, that is roughly the amount you would need to renovate every single school in the entire country. So finding money for corporate tax relief, no problem at all. But if you want free childcare or to renovate our schools, sorry, we can't afford that unless we make pensioners.
Okay, hang on, pause on that, right? Okay, so a bunch of schools are not going to need renovating, so that's a bunch of money wasted. But okay, say we renovate a bunch of schools. How does that improve the economy of Germany?
It doesn't.
No, there's no fucking good to it at all.
Not to mention as well, remember in Korea where they mentioned that they were schools getting one child enrolling? Do we need to renovate these schools? What are we going to use these schools for? Who is going to be taught in these schools?
Turkish children.
Turkish children.
There is really no reason for Kurzgesagt to buy this line of reasoning hook, line, and sinker, and it also leads to them contradicting themselves later in the video. I want to highlight 2 clips here, because they show the contradiction you run into when you treat young versus old as the main conflict in Germany's economy, instead of labor versus wealth.
And hey, I even agree, right? The main problem in Germany's economy isn't young versus old, because there's always going to be young people, and there's always going to be old people. The main problem is ideological. There's an ideology that is increasing the number of old people versus the number of young people.
Yeah.
The first clip repeats the idea that wealth is being distributed from the young to the old, and that this is hard to change because older people supposedly have such a tight grip on our political system.
Young Germans are condemned to pay off a huge loan on the future that the older generations have generously granted themselves. And they don't have the power to change this by voting, because German parties just have no incentive to help young people. Demographic decline in a democracy is a feedback loop. When seniors are the largest group of voters, politicians make politics for them.
Now let's watch a clip from later in the video.
Baby boomers' lives are affected too. With unsustainable pension funds, inevitably millions of older Germans will have to work much longer than they thought. A retirement age of 70 or higher is already being discussed. Today, about 20% of German pensioners live in poverty, and that rate is all but guaranteed to increase significantly in the 2030s.
And what was that percentage? 20% of German pensioners live in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of the overall population lives in poverty, I wonder?
I don't know. But, okay, so the counter-argument he's making here is that the old people are suffering too. Correct. Because the system isn't working. The math isn't mathing. There isn't enough money. You're already taxing labor too much, he says. And the pensioners aren't getting enough, he says. There isn't enough money. You can't have both. You can't have less taxes and more money at the same time. And if you begin cutting in the corporations, you begin producing less money. And you're not going to have more productivity if you cut money in the corporations. Like, he hasn't presented a single answer to this problem, like, because it is actually a difficult issue. You can't do any of these things because you are spending too much money. We return to that point again and again. Too much money is going out, not enough money is going in.
I can't believe he didn't provide a solution to this impossible problem.
How is this possible? Why do 42% of pensioners receive less than €1,000 statutory pension per month if Parliament mainly makes politics for them? Well, because it doesn't. Because the main benefactors of German economic policy are not the old, but the wealthy, who often happen to be...
Why does he think they're two different categories?
Well, he actually...
The old people are the wealthiest people.
He says that. The old people also happen to be old.
In the graph that
the rich people happen to be old. They're there, median net wealth by age.
our authors put on screen, we can see how the majority of wealth is owned by people that happen to be older.
Happen to be older. Happen to be older. They too happened upon buried treasure chests of Spanish doubloons in the forest. No, they didn't happen to be older. They have worked for longer. They have earned more money. They've invested more money. They've built more. A bunch of those people probably built their businesses before the murderous tax rates on capital income, on corporate taxes, etc., on sales tax came in.
Before the fall of the Berlin fucking Wall, probably. But like, seriously, that's exactly the thing. Like, he's acting as if the intersection between being older and being wealthy is a fucking coincidence.
Yeah, as it's incidental. Like, no.
But that does not automatically prove that the old, as a whole, are the winners in the system.
Doesn't it? I mean, the graph you're showing me seems to indicate that they're the winners.
You're literally saying, hey, bro, we need to steal money from the rich and give it to the old. And it's like, what, from Peter to Peter?
I'm looking at a graph here that is 180 times larger than the 16 to 24. Sounds like a win to me.
Okay.
I'm not very good at reading graphs, I guess.
It mainly shows something much more basic. People who have been alive longer had more time to accumulate assets, pay down mortgages, inherit, save, and benefit from rising property prices. The more important question is, who owns the wealth, which in each generation? So when the video suggests the
old people, the people you just showed us,
old have most of the wealth, it is collapsing two very different things into one category. Ordinary older people and wealthy asset owners who happen to be old.
Ordinary old people.
Ordinary old people, those who happen to be old asset owners. Like, again, that's the stat you showed is all old people, which shows that the overwhelming majority of wealth is in those old people. Will there be poor old people too? Sure. But that doesn't change the fucking fact.
The median old person is very well off.
Two very distinct political groups. In other words, a retired supermarket worker on a small pension does not have the same political interest as a 70-year-old landlord with 5 apartments just because they are both old. We're getting
genius. No. Well done for pointing that out.
Close to the end here, but next up is the clip that is arguably the...
But again, like you just said, the median old person.
Most incredible of the entire video.
There's literally no point comparing the two outliers.
Because it's not like the good people at Kurzgesagt are unaware of the vast wealth inequality in Germany.
Even in a high-tax country like Germany, there's plenty of wealth disparity and opportunities to tax the rich and take pressure off workers. Although, of course, the details are fiercely debated, so we'll not get into this right now. But the scale of the gap between what workers pay and what's needed to cover boomers' pensions is so enormous that even raising taxes would only buy a bit of time.
This was honestly baffling to me. It's hotly debated, so we won't get into it here. Why? It's not like any other topic in this video isn't hotly debated. In fact, that would even be more reason to make your case, no? And to top it off, after saying they won't get into it, the video states that the gap between what workers pay and pension obligations is so high that raising taxes would only, quote, buy a bit of time.
And barely even that. Again, like we said, right? If they were to take, so top 25 richest people in Germany. So we got 50 there, let's say call it 100, 140, 160, 180, 200, 220, 240, 260, 280, 300, grand total 340 maybe, right? So if you took all of this money, every dime, 100% tax rate, you would still not pay for Germany for a single year. And you would pay for the pension system, only the pension system alone, for about 3 years. And that is 100% tax rate on the 25 richest people in Germany.
Imagine what your tax revenues are going to be like the year after.
Yeah.
Not very fucking good.
And after that, of course, your tax revenue is going to plummet. And it's going to it's not even going to plummet to minus 100 billion. It's going to plummet further because these people are already paying fucking loads of taxes. Like, main source of wealth, Schwarz Group. Okay. Let's see. Let's Google Schwarz Group. Schwarz Group, Wikipedia. Number of employees, 604,000.
Fucking hell. It's like, this like reaching South Korea levels of economic centralization.
Yeah. $185.6 billion in revenue. Like, okay, if you begin destroying companies like these, your tax revenue isn't going to decrease. It is going to go away. It's going to disappear. This one company, I guarantee you, pays more taxes than tens of thousands, millions of German families every year.
I bet that fucking company pays more taxes than most nation states in the world. Like, that is huge.
I wonder
What's the Philippines' actual annual budget compared to the tax revenue from that country, from that company?
Total revenue, tax payments. I'm trying to get an answer out for the internet right now.
Everything about this 3 hours guy is so short-sighted, and I had plenty of fucking criticism of that Kurzgesagt video.
Oh yes, we had plenty of criticisms on it,
and yet,
but
seems
okay,
eminently reasonable by comparison.
Let's say that we're just doing the basic corporate tax then at 14%. So that is almost 30 billion euros right there in taxes on just corporate tax alone. Now, of course, it's revenues, not actual earnings, etc., etc. But again, this company is paying more taxes than millions of German families. And if you take that away, if you ruin that, if you decrease the incentive to create this, the company's just going to go smaller. They're going to get fewer employees. They're going to hire less people. We know this. This is basic economics. We know where the money comes from. And if we remove the source of the money will actually go away.
Have you considered killing the goose that's laying all these golden eggs?
Yes, that is literally what it amounts to. Killing the fucking goose.
I know.
But why is the gap between what workers pay and pensioners receive? Why can't there be a broader financing of the pension system that focuses on the wealth the entire country creates, and not just what workers are able to pay into the system? Well, I guess that is hotly debated, so we can't talk about it here. And
actually, I wonder, is there, so the revenue, terms in federal revenue, is there some mention specifically of revenue? Terms of federal expenditure, terms in federal revenue. Okay, so what's the revenue? Let's see. Income tax, 182 million. Wage tax, 105. Asset income tax, 31. Corporation tax, 19 billion. So the corporations are paying 20 billion. The corporations are paying a quarter of the total wage tax. Assessed income tax. I'm assuming assessed income tax. That's not wages. I'm assuming that's capital gains tax. I'd guess. I'm not sure what they mean by assessed income tax. Germany. Progressive incomes, tax personal income.
All I know is it's going to be the government fucking stealing from people.
I think it's capital gains. That's 31 million. So if you get the wages tax, okay, so you're already getting a whole lot of value. Oh god, value added tax, fucking sales tax, 140 fucking 5. Jesus. Fucking sales tax. Fuck the sales tax. God, I hate the sales tax.
Just every fucking tax. Just fuck every tax.
But hey, I hate the sales tax most of all. It is just you wanting to have a thing, and the government then butts in and goes, where's my share?
You know what? The thing is, though, that's actually the tax that I object to the least, because like I could make a kind of argument from frugal living. It's like, well, actually, you don't want to be too much of a wastrel and spend loads of money and be frivolous with your money and stuff like that. So I can actually kind of understand a sales tax, especially on high value goods, right? But it's, for me, it is genuinely, oh, you've earned some money, have you? I'm having it. It's like, no, I'm not your fucking slave. I'm not your fucking slave. You do not get to take my fucking money. I hate that one more.
Like, I hate the value added tax the most because it comes on top of the regular tax. Now, I would love a system where wage tax either doesn't exist or is like 5%. Just to finance whatever bookkeeping the government has to do to keep track of your ass through the labor system, right? And then you just do fucking sales tax. I'd be happy with that because that is me buying something for my money. And I am contributing to the system in relative terms compared to what I buy. So I put in as much as I want out.
And also, the things that I'm spending my money on are in my interest.
Yes.
So me buying a thing also helps the state, rather than me slaving away is what the state requires. I hate it.
And regarding that raising taxes would only buy a bit of time, yeah, every pension reform buys time. Raising the retirement age buys time. Cutting benefits buys time. There is no solution in which demographics just stop mattering forever.
Aha! Thank you! That's all I needed to hear. It's an unsolvable problem.
Well, and that's the thing too. Okay, no. It actually isn't, though. Like, okay, right. All you need to do... The solution to this problem is to look at the pension system and go, okay, it doesn't work. We're just gonna have to cut it. We're gonna cut that in half. There you go. You've solved the problem. And as for not buying time, yes, no, you have to rebuild your population too. That is true. And how do we rebuild the population? And that's the thing. There is no solution to this problem. The solution to this problem is not liberalism. That is the solution to the problem. You need an ideology that encourages people to have kids again. That is the solution to this problem.
And it really has to begin with, if you are enjoying the benefits of your civilization, you must pay it forward.
Yes.
And you do that by having kids.
And as well, okay, if that is the line of thinking, there is no solution to the problem, well, blow your fucking brains out right now, I guess.
Yeah, stop fucking taxing me to try and buy time then.
Yes.
Just fucking
let it collapse. If all we're doing is watching as everything around us fucking crumbles, god damn it, let's get to the Mad Max future already.
Exactly.
Our last clip for today comes from the conclusion and opinion section. So anything we've seen up until this point, not opinionated, apparently.
The reality nobody wants to talk about is that solving the demographic crisis will be very painful. It will require sacrifices from everyone, and politicians seem incapable of addressing it honestly.
Kurzgesagt bemoans here that no one wants to talk about what the reality of solving the demographic challenges looks like. But evidently, they don't want to talk about it either, because despite framing the problem as this unavoidable crisis requiring sacrifice from everyone, the video never really says what those sacrifices should be.
No, it doesn't. And the reason
you're
for
not
that
ready
is...
for that.
Yeah, literally, you're not ready for that. The solution to this crisis is to fucking abolish the liberal state. That is the solution to this crisis.
But Islam is the solution to this crisis.
Well, unironically, it would fix a lot of it, yes.
Yeah.
But in the interest of keeping a little bit of Europe in there, it is conservatism. It is, no, you don't get to spend more than you earn. It is, no, you must create a family. It is, no, we're going to tax the life out of you until you do get a family, etc.
And not just that, it's outright messaging. A woman's place in society is raising her children.
Yes. It is the reintroduction of medals for birthing more than 3 childs.
Exactly. Its social status has to come along with motherhood. Civilization has to be reconfigured to focus around mothers and not single women.
Yes. That is the solution. And you're not ready for it. And Kurzgesagt is not ready for it either. Because I bet you they can't even imagine what that solution looks like.
No.
Also, we did hit our like goal, chat. 1,000 likes. Thank you very much. Now,
only 1,000 likes, chat. Right, I'm increasing your taxes.
We need 500 more to avoid punishment taxes.
Yeah. Or if you don't, it's more taxes for you.
Yep.
Sales taxes as well, and inheritance taxes. So you know what to do. You better click like.
You've avoided the wealth tax, but if you want fewer taxes, on top of that, you're gonna redouble your efforts.
The wealthiest generation needs that money, baby.
Or according to what principle they should be distributed. The one answer that isn't cutting benefits or increasing the load of workers that does appear, using taxes and broader public financing, is basically set aside as controversial and then dismissed as insufficient. Whenever German governments talk about...
And I guess that's immigration, because they did mention that briefly, and it was basically like, could this be solved by immigration? The answer is no, because the immigrants are aging too.
And they don't work as hard as Germans. And they're a disproportionate sponge off the welfare state.
Painful but necessary sacrifices. Those sacrifices almost always fall hardest on people who live from wages, pensions, public services, and rented housing. It is
Yes.
They're
They have
me.
grown accustomed to a standard of living that they cannot sustain. It's exactly what happened in Greece. People are going to have to work until they're in their fucking 70s. And that's if you're fucking lucky. People are going to have to realize that there's not going to be a pension system when they grow old. They're going to have to make families to support them. And literally...
Yes.
Like, you talk about painful changes, there needs to be a ban on fucking abortions in anything but necessary emergency circumstances. These are the things that must happen.
Are you
Do you know
ready
what I'm
to ride
preparing
this
for
yellow
this as
mare's
well?
fluttery,
Like, whenever my
fluttery
son comes to
fluttery?
me, it's like, Dad, I'm going to go out with my friends. Can I have £5 so I can get a Coke and some sweets from the shop? I make sure I give him that £5 because in 30 years' time, I'm going to be like, son, I'm really hungry. I need to go get some food. Can I have some money for food? And he'll go, here you go, Dad. I'm sure of it.
Workers who are told to work longer, pensioners who are told to expect less, the unemployed who are told benefits are too generous, patients and care workers who are told the system is too expensive. Or, as Kurzgesagt tells its audience, young people who are told there is no money for housing, education,
Are you
or climate
ready
investment.
to rut this yellow
And
mare's fluttery,
all of
fluttery
that's
blood?
true. And here's the thing as well. We can cut one of them, or we can cut all of them. There is no other alternative. There's cut. There's only cut.
But somehow, the sacrifices rarely start with the people best positioned to make them. Large heirs, landlords, shareholders, owners of major fortunes, high-income professionals, and people whose wealth comes from owning rather than working.
Well, the high-income professionals are already paying 45% fucking tax.
Yeah, where does he think this fucking money comes from?
Yeah. The government is already taking at least 7% of your inheritance. They're already taxing capital gains. They're already taxing the corporations. You can argue that they could tax them harder, but again, you only speed up the slide. That's the problem. It's all a short-term solution. You don't have the money, and shrinking your economy to have less money next year so that you'll have enough this year isn't a fucking solution. It is eating your cake and then looking at it tomorrow and going, my cake has disappeared.
You've already admitted that in this video. You've already admitted this is just about kicking the can down the road.
Yes. You've already admitted there is no solution.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any
Just
ill
buying
will on
time.
the side of Kurzgesagt in making this video, and I don't want to suggest they are producing conservative propaganda or anything like that. It just seems like they were so hesitant of saying something political about a political problem that they ended up saying nothing, and were so framing the issue through a conservative lens.
And this is what I'm doing.
But this is not really a political issue, right?
No.
Because politically, everyone has agreed infinite boomer welfare forever, right? Everyone agrees politically on that being the correct answer. The question is economic. How do we get infinite boomer welfare? And for decades and decades now, they've been trying to have infinite boomer welfare, and the economics of it have clapped out.
Yes.
It can't be sustained.
That's the problem. We can't afford it. We haven't been able to afford it. We've been borrowing against the future every step of the way, taking up larger and larger loans.
Yes.
They present a political framing as a neutral reality. Here is
Because it is a neutral reality. The math, plus minus.
the point I really want to highlight. If you are opposed to the assault on the welfare state, which I hope
No, I am fully aligned in the assault of the welfare state.
Yeah. I'm trying to lead the assault on the welfare state.
Once more onto the breach, fucking brothers.
Death to the welfare state. Who are you?
people
I'm a
like
guy who has a job.
are, you have to reject this framing, lest you make the conservative case for them. And
Again, like, you have to reject the framing. You have to reject reality. No, I don't want to reject reality. I don't think it's to my benefit to just bury my head deeper in the sand and say, no. There is
That
no
is
solution to the problem.
That is the best, honestly. That is the absolute fucking best answer at the end of this video. Just reject the reality
Yes.
that they're presenting to you.
Just reject the framing. How to solve it? Oh, take more money. But when they point out there isn't enough money, just reject it. Just fucking reject it. Hold your hands over your ears and go la 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 la.
And it seems to me that Kurzgesagt is opposed to the, for instance, approach by our conservative chancellor. Why I say this is because they depict him in this clip as a politician in a private jet, saying everyone just needs to work more.
Oh yeah, that's what you said. That's your words. We just need to increase productivity. Everybody just has to be more productive. That is you in that fucking seat, because that is not a conservative chancellor. That is another fucking liberal.
That's so fucking true. He literally did say that. We just need to increase productivity, bro.
Yes. That's all. We
Oh
just
my
need to work
God.
harder. And make no mistake, the Conservatives are no allies of mine either.
No, absolutely not.
That is clearly supposed to be our historically unpopular Chancellor, Friedrich Merz.
But God, okay, right. More and more every day, I'm growing to believe that physiognomy was a fucking form of science that we need to bring back. Every time I hear about somebody doing something vile or evil or shrinking my rights or increasing my taxes, it is a man that looks like that every fucking time.
Or possibly a woman that looks like the female version, like Angela Merkel.
Yes, it's either a rodent-inspired individual or a witch. One out of the two. There is never a Giga Chad motherfucker going, we gotta raise your taxes. Never.
So
It's
true.
always a weasel. Every fucking time.
Fucking true.
What makes this video so baffling is that the video doesn't really oppose his politics related to the welfare system and even serves to bolster his underlying assumptions. And to make this point, I'd like to read to you a section from a speech Friedrich Merz gave a couple of days after Kurzgesagt released their video on the subject.
To put it like this, unless his speech is cut, kill the boomers, kill them, destroy the welfare state, it's not going far enough.
Here Merz talks about the, quote, necessary political steps, i.e. cuts we have to make to the pension system, and then goes on to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is not some malicious scheme on my part or on the part of the federal government. Laughter and boos from the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a matter of demographics and mathematics. It is simply beyond the means of two contributors to finance a single retiree in the future.
Because
Correct.
the thing is, Mertz, being the good libtard that he is, wants what 3 Arrows wants. He wants what 3 Arrows is trying to sell.
Yes.
He's just the one looking at the sheets, looking at the books, looking at the actual mathematics of it, and saying that it just can't be done.
This
I'm
is why.
sorry, it just can't be done.
Again, he's not a conservative. He desires everything 3 Arrows does. He want. It's not malicious. We're not trying to do this. We would love not to do this. We want to be good socialists just like you. But I looked at the balance sheet, and honey, we can't afford a new car. It's just not happening.
Yeah, it's just not there.
Two workers cannot finance one pensioner. That is not malice, it is demographics, and the math just isn't mathing. This is exactly the issue. Once you frame the problem this way, the political conclusion is already built in.
Correct. Once you recognize reality for what it is, inescapable reality, you just don't have a socialist answer.
The welfare state is too expensive, pensions are unsustainable, and ordinary people have to work longer, pay more, or accept less. Kurzgesagt may disagree with
Correct.
Merz's solution, but their video reinforces the assumptions his politics depend on.
It's not an assumption. It's fucking... We've been seeing this problem build for 60 fucking years. This isn't some, like, licking your finger and holding it up in the air style thing anymore.
What's more is he's literally looking at the figures on a spreadsheet, mate.
And I might be mistaken in giving Kurzgesagt the benefit of the doubt here because they do this repeatedly in their video. They bring up healthcare and say a lot of stuff that is accurate, but leave out that Germany's health system is politically designed in a way that weakens the public option. High earners, many self-employed people, and civil servants can use private health insurance instead of joining the statutory pool. That means that the wealthier and often healthier population can partially exit the system most workers rely on.
Fuck you, why? Fuck you, why? Why should I pay taxes on my investment, on my income, on my corporation, and then go, well, I'm not going to take any of the benefits because that wouldn't be very socialist of me? No, fuck you! I fucking hate. I hate.
That service that you're forced to pay for, you know what? You shouldn't use it.
You shouldn't use it. Why? Well, there are poor
Because other
people.
people are using it.
What? The fucking unwashed masses that didn't build anything, that didn't create companies, who didn't pay taxes. I should step aside and let the... hate.
Incredible.
Hate.
Just what an incredible worldview this guy's arrived at.
Yeah, no, so on the one side, he's like, listen, rich people, I'm going to take from you everything. I'm going to leave you nothing. Oh, and by the way, that healthcare system you're paying into, I'm going to need you to leave it. Fucking...
I don't want you to stop paying for it, though. God. That would be ridiculous.
No, like I said, I'm going to take everything from you to pay for it, and I'm not going to give it to you. Like, Mother Hump, you are just evil, aren't you?
Doesn't that make me a literal fucking slave?
Like,
I mean, literally, doesn't that mean I have to labor for someone else's benefit constantly with no escape?
the only reason why this moral framing is okay, the only reason why he can even think of just destroying a person like this is because they're rich. That's the only thing. He has more than me, therefore I may do all of this to him. He has more, I may take everything from him, I may reduce him to a slave in his own home.
I mean, it's literally the philosophy of a fucking bandit.
Oh, and we got raided on Kick by Ember Paradox. Oh, Ember Paradox. Hey, if you're there, I've been told to bring you on the ArchCast, so hi.
I don't know who that is, but I'm sure they're lovely.
I'm sure they're lovely too, which is why I'll officially extend the invitation now. I'll have to try and dig them up on YouTube. But again, like, it's so... Socialism is the most hateful fucking ideology on the planet, and it is based solely on wealth. If you have more than I, and I is an ever-changing number, by the way, Hassan fucking Piker, fucking Bernie, you remember, the problem is the millionaires and the billionaires. Oh, what? What's that? I earn $2.5 million for my fucking book sale? I own 3 houses and a fucking yacht? Well, guess what? The problem's the billionaires.
Billionaires and the trillionaires.
Fucking. Hate.
I know.
They bring up housing crisis and mention immigration, NIMBYs, and regulations as factors, but not the insane commodification of the housing market and our politics treating housing mainly as an investment vehicle, not places to live.
And why is it investment vehicle? Why? Why is housing an investment vehicle? Well, it's got to be because it's very scarce and there's an enormous demand for it. What could be this enormous demand? I just can't fucking figure out why investing in the housing market is such a good...
Also, why are there all these Turkish flags flying in this neighborhood? I just can't understand the correlation here.
What's that large tower, and why is it calling me to come pray 5 times a day?
Everything about these people's worldview is just backwards and wrong. Everything. Literally everything.
Because all of it looks at a situation they created. Okay. The housing market is overly commodified. People are using houses as an investment because property is the single most valuable thing in the fucking world right now. This is clearly unfair. Why aren't we building enough houses? Well, we're building houses as fast as we humanly fucking can. Okay, why don't you start more construction companies? That's got to be boom times right now. Well, there literally isn't enough material because, okay, this is the worst thing too. Because I've seen
overregulated.
Well, overregulated, and materials are growing so expensive because we are building so many fucking houses.
Okay.
We're building like we're building to the point where it's becoming unprofitable to build. That's how much we're fucking building, and it's just not a fucking enough.
Yes, everything's so fucked.
Right. Okay. Well. I'm going to declare that as getting through it. There's 3 minutes left. I'm sure it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not going to go back on any of the guys. Actually, you know what, guys? Actually, hang on. I had a quick think as I was editing this. I think I might be wrong on everything.
Oh, it's all consequences, and the worst part is all consequences of their own fucking policies, and they just no. And like he said himself, how do we win this argument? By rejecting the argument.
Yeah, how do we win this argument? Well, I mean, on the merits, you can't.
Yes. Like, you can't argue against reality. He's right when he fucking paps his sheet with plus minuses and goes, we don't have the money. He's correct. You just need to bat it out of his hands and go, I don't care.
And remember, you've already conceded this, 3 Arrows. You said, well, this is all just kicking the can down the road and buying time. Yeah, that doesn't solve the problem. That delays the problem. So it's someone else's problem in the future. That's not a problem solved. That's how we got into this fucking mess in the first place.
Oh, God. All right. Superchats. Daddy's Belt. That's a good name for $50. Thank you for your donation, sir. Greetings from the communist state of Maryland. Big support for you guys since 2015. The US military has a retainment issue as well. Turns out shitting on your main demographic, promoting vibes, and fielding politicians like leaders will do that. Yeah. I mean, of course. There's no wonder to me that fewer and fewer people are signing up to the military. You keep shitting on them. And again, Whoa, God, I'm going to find this.
Well, do you remember when a bunch of them were kicked out over COVID? So they didn't go on to get the jab, and they got kicked out.
There we go. There we fucking go. Yes. So this is... Right. This is a real fucking recruitment poster from Sweden. Can I find a better image of it?
Oh, Sweden, yes.
There we go. Come on. Please load. There. And this, a flag worth defending.
Female hands made this poster.
We defend human rights, everyone's equal value, and our right to live as we choose. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to join the army for everybody. I'm not fighting for Pakistan. I'm not fighting for fucking LA. I'm not fighting for gay rights. You're fighting for your country. And this is straight out of Sweden again. And flaggevaret att försvara. It's word for word. No hyperbole, no exaggeration. Word for fucking word. Released by the army, the armed forces, Försvarsmakten. Like, nobody wants to fucking die for LGBTQ bullshit. Nobody wants to fucking die for faggotry. Okay? It's just that fucking simple.
Even the LGBTQs aren't prepared to die for it.
No, they're not.
Like, it's not like you've got gays running around being like, this is for gay rights in Uganda.
Yes. Like, listen, when the fucking gays start signing up to the army in unprecedented numbers, like 90% of the ham riders of the world are pulling on a uniform, I'll fucking reconsider. But until that point...
Then I won't need to. They're doing it.
Like... And it's such a fucking yeah, it's the exact same thing with the whole like, oh, if you're rich, just get out of the social security system. Don't be another burden on the system you're paying for. That's what this is. This is the servant class fighting for their overlords.
Yeah.
I don't know how we arrived at the position where the gays are the modern day nobilities, but that's literally what this is. And I mean... not even... Oh, my God, it actually is that. Because, remember, all of these colors are supposed to indicate certain, like, sexualities and liberal values, etc. I don't remember the meanings of it, but this is literally a coat of arms of faggotry that you are defending.
Yeah, there's everyone's sexuality, except yours, by the way.
Oh,
not you.
Hate. It's a simple word, and it communicates my emotions perfectly.
Yeah. But that's the way it is, I'm afraid. I hate to do this, but I've got to run off early today because I've got to be up really, really early tomorrow.
God damn it, Sargon.
So I have to leave you to do the soup chats on your own, I'm afraid.
Weakling.
No, I've got to be out of the house by 7:30 tomorrow. It's fucking annoying.
All right. I'll see you next week, Sargon. Have a good night.
Yeah, see you on Monday, man. Take it easy, guys. And chat, click the like button.
He's such a little coward, chat. He runs away.
I haven't left yet, you son of a bitch. Because I'm trying to find out how I actually exit this on Discord.
There. He's fucking gone. The old man is gone. He's gone to get his fucking beauty sleep. Don't worry, chat. I will never abandon you. Never. Sal's Nico and Kick. Sorry to derail whatever is the topic. I'll catch up tomorrow, but I'm surprised last week nobody called Art argued with the logic of a woman of 238.25. Did I argue with woman logic? I might have. It's entirely normal. I occasionally enjoy a little bit of woman logic myself. I think that a little bit of woman logic makes your life better, frankly. Okay?
You ignorant slut.
I've been on the receiving end of woman logic. Why should I not be able to use it against my against my enemies? See no reason. Mr. Spencer, Carl, can you at Lotus Eaters pay for Arj on a Cameo account a dozen times? Pay? And take a word from each Cameo to have him say something pro-restore, then end it by saying he's for sale and England isn't. I'll have to send that idea to him later. Jeebus Milk for $20. Thank you very much, sir. Hi, Carl. Hi, Carl Stefanovic. What the fuck is his name? Australia's #1 breakfast journalist just got fired for his interview. Tommy R in England. I think he's still there. It might be a good interview to hit up. I will message him with that, actually. Boog, good luck in the World Dive Grass Expo lands. Your country are fighting over custody of Hatsune Miku. Perenelli. I hope Norms win. Mexico spite. John Logan, Carl, I noticed you don't hate the French enough. Trump hosting Spranter Pratt hard anti-communist. See, no, I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry that the old fucking boomer had to go to bed like a fat, ignorant sow that he is. I tried to carve out like 30 minutes to get a little bit of his attention, but listen. This was a 30 minutes video. I knew this was going to be at the very limits of what we could conceivably possibly do, but we got very close. I feel proud of what I have achieved here today. I believe I did something good. GPS231, you said you two were too verbose to react to Dr. Random Cam's bath, yet you're calling it quite 29 minutes, just after spending this 2 hours. Are you just opposed to reacting to any of the mic? Listen. We already added a quarter commentary on this, and this was us being relatively non-wandering off topic, honestly. That requires some thought. Arch, we got here because you, Sargon, all of the talking right refuse any military solutions, though they need to worry about any country power because they have no such reservations. Well, there isn't a military solution to this problem. There isn't. Like, listen. If you get into power in Germany today and you order the Bundeswehr to march into the fucking streets and start deporting Browns en masse, there will be riots. The opposition is far more militarily organized than we are. They've got far more backing. They've got far more organizations than we do. This is why their massive demonstrations paid for with pre-made signs and transportations at the ready whenever the right tries to do anything. And you wouldn't even be able to get the military to do this in many countries like Germany, where they have literally rules stating that you shouldn't obey orders if it appears to go against your beliefs. There isn't a military solution to this. We are currently in the midst of changing culture. We are working on changing culture, and we are doing very, very well in changing culture. And we can't just become tyrants. Again, we aren't the populace. We are the 2% arguing of the 98. If we become tyrannical, they will reject us just as they rejected the left. It is a harsh but simple truth. Scott Anderson, are you guys watching Norway versus England Saturday? I'm not, because I haven't watched any of the matches so far, and we've won every single one of them, which means that if I start watching the matches, we are going to fucking lose. Okay? Simple as. Simple as. We are going to lose if I watch. Max Robe, all the crew die, yet no tear-jerker reviews, so crew have totally no character. The Odyssey. That's true. I mean, this... People like fucking... I don't even know how much time will actually be spent on the boat. I imagine Odysseus will be the only main character on the boat, and then everybody else will basically be a red shirt to be expended in tremendous numbers and murdered during various weird happenstance, like eaten by Cyclops or thrown into the sea, etc., etc., etc. Definitely not a Frenchman. Hey, Arch Sargon, did you ever had a chance to check out Matt Rhodes' Dead Gods? What's your favorite faction in your war game? Conan, book reader. His favorite faction is the Ashari because they're his baby and because he treats them way too fucking well, even though he still doesn't understand them. Listen, they're a metaphysical faction that abhors the material world, and yet he insists they have money. You have no idea how much I've had to argue with this man to try and get him away from this idea. I want the cool giant tiger people to have an economy based on light or crystals or something cool. And Sargon's like, no, we must have the Jewish bank ruling over them too. International Jewry must stretch into space. No. Although, actually, it has stretched into space, because there is a church that controls their finances, so fuck it. It happened again. Even space is not safe. I'm going to the last place that capitalism has not corrupted. Space! Said the Soviet premier, only to be met on the moon by a man in a weird hat rubbing his hands. Chaos. Sorry for the cliffhanger last week. Yes, Scott from Kentucky, ballistic survived an explosion that lacerated his neck and punctured the lung. Good. He's used more powerful guns now, like 20-minute anti-tank rifle and a knock volley gun. It's good to hear. Orthodox and Doppelganger. We need to bring back plundering war trophies and other spoils of war and stop pretending we're better. For all the shit servicemen go through, and no multiple vets, they deserve the spoils of war. Don't worry, some of them are already taking them. Hopefully. Marine Alva, the DNC, Democratic National Committee, is evolve into DSA, Democratic Socialist of America. As are they all. The Thing. Ooh, Art, you like rap music? I do. Well, I like very specific rap music. I am a huge fan of rap done well. And I've found like 3 people in my entire lifetime that does rap well, because rap done correctly is, as I've mentioned ad infinitum, poetry put to music. That does not mean I like the majority of rap, however. Check out Death's Grips. I'd recommend starting at the song Hacker. It's a different, but I love it. Eternal Darkness, Santi's Requiem Fund. Death's Grips. That sounds oddly reminiscent of something that I invented a few years ago, which is the Rigma grip, which is when you take a gorilla's hand, post rigor mortis so that it's firmed up nice and hard, and then you use it like a fleshlight, like to jerk yourself off. Or alternatively, you can have the monkey be alive and you can train it to give hand jobs. This was an idea I came up with when chat forced me to play that stupid washing game. You know the one. The washing game. You know the one with the pressure washer. Chat made me play the 40k mod for that, and it became incredibly popular and massive success, and I got stressed and frightened because too many people were watching, and I got confused what I was supposed to do and what topics I was going to bring up. So I tried to explain to chat that you could train a monkey to give hand jobs, but there are tremendous dangers involved in doing this because of their enormous grip strength. And then that evolved into the Rigma grip, the rigor mortis grip, which... You know what, I'll spare you any further exposés, but just know that chat was to blame, along with Power War Simulator. King Spectre. Sorry, I'm a little late. I'm catching up at 1.5 speed. Oh god, listening to that video at 1.5 speed must be an interesting experience. But you guys sound weird at that speed. Can you do me a favor and speak at half speed until I catch up? I'll let you know when. Impossible. Oh, I came up with that before I hang around Lum Lum and Savvy. That was all me. I take credit for that. My brain wanders in strange places when I am unable to adequately distracted with other concerns. I have a knock for producing gay porn posters set in the 40k universe as well, as I remember my mind wandered on that topic. And I also have a very vivid imagination when it comes to drawing pictures. So if you can make me imagine things, all kinds of weird shit happens. And I can't control it. I can't stop it. It's literally just my brain that goes like, oh, here's another picture. That translates into this picture. Here's another picture. And it just kind of keeps going like that. Entirely normal. Marine Alva, the Iron Arrow of Antifa. Know your enemies. I do know it's an anti-fascist symbol. Glenn the Driven, content starvation is what Metacore has done, and it seems to have worked out well for him. Okay. On the off chance that this is going to be a highly controversial take, that motherfucker has been dying of cancer for 10 years now. I'm pretty sure content starvation is exactly the strategy being utilized here, but oh well. Animal Attackman, late again, judged me most harshly. Only way it will stop. 13 minutes. Catching up. And good afternoon, gents. Thank you. Tanushi, Arch, will your video address how socialism cannot exist until capitalist development and perfects a universal constructor, i.e. Star Trek replicator? Well, I don't know if I will, because I'm thinking I want to try a really super short video, because in essence, I can explain why socialism doesn't understand economies very, very simply. It is just that they assume wealth exists a priori. That alone invalidates their position and can be easily pointed. It's very easy to show that that is what they're doing as well. Skiffer Brown, are the new Germans not signing up to the army? They are not. They are not. Adam Attackman, constant videos, streams, content starvation. I argue for the extreme centrist position. Whenever the hell you feel like it, that's content. Qatar, Germany going to start Little Palm Gem project. What was that movie? I don't... What? Puffy shirt, there's plenty of food around. We just need to eat the seeds. That's true. That is... I'm stealing that. I am stealing that. And then I am banning you so that nobody can see where it came from. King Spectre, Archer's exclamation of hate make me yearn to hear him read AM speech from I have no mouth, but I must scream. Every room in this place is filled with wafer-thin data wafers. If every inch of them had the word hate written out, it would still not amount to my hatred of you. I am butchering that. It's a great fucking speech. Subject Noble, the biggest problem I have with democracy, with libtards, with internationalism, that they are so short-sighted and never think of the future. Well, this is also the problem of having a not very good electorate class, right? The only way for democracy to truly function is to produce a better voter. Literally, it is to produce a voter that is better able to understand the complexities of reality and the economic reality at play, particularly. The problem is, it's really fucking hard to make that better voter, as the overwhelming majority of people simply aren't goddamn interested in politics, philosophies, economy, etc. It's just not interesting to the majority of people. And so forcing them to vote doesn't work either. Honestly, again, some form of limitation on the franchise is almost certainly going to be necessary. I'm not entirely sure how yet, but some limitation is going to be needed. The Dodger UK. AI is amazing and improves every day. How any years, many I'm assuming, it will take AI to be able to convert women logic to human logic. That will probably be one of the last frontiers conquered, because it will require the AI to think in a form of logic that will need to be custom made for that solution specifically. Seal Manning 2. You should look at the debate Andrew Wilson had with a Muslim over whether Christianity was better for humanity than Islam. Sinestro. So what I'm hearing is that according to this germ, true welfare hasn't been tried. Yes, true welfare has not been tried yet. Sandoom, Sargon, have you seen that Ireland, in that they have made a massive bonfire? It's not a boat this time, but a mosque on top of the pile. I have seen that. I don't know if Sargon has seen it, but I have seen that. I have seen it. Alex Robertson, you guys should address the harsher edges of capitalism, like private equity extracting cash and leaving companies dead. Large funds needing constant profit, interest rates ripping through working people. Carlyle speaks of it. Sure, there are absolutely concerns. Sorry, I was distracted by a weird thing. There are absolutely concerns with capitalism as well. No system is perfect. And is there absolutely ways to abuse that system? Sure, absolutely. But it seems to work out in the overwhelming majority of circumstances. And the fact that it is a system that has provided us with damn near non-stop growth for decade after decade after decade after decade after decade proves that it is remarkably resilient. As a Loxon, you could pay pension if you stop paying welfare to migrants and people who can work. I don't know the numbers precisely on that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was, at the very least, part of the solution, yes. Kiefer Brown, living off state handouts is undignified. Invest. True. And that's another thing as well. A part of this problem can be solved by simply making it societally unacceptable to be like this, making it shameful to be on welfare. But the problem is there are also quite a few people who do not feel that shame. In fact, as we went over with the Indian Izzat, for example, you have there an entire culture, entire religion and culture, that literally sees honor in exploiting the system, that views it as a net positive for the system, for the people involved in it, for the culture overall, to extract resources from those dumb enough to allow themselves to be exploited in that way. And Attackman, I think of German science and how they tend to over-engineer everything. And then there's this guy. King Spectre, good news, I'm caught up. You can speak at normal speed again. Thank you, fellas, and God bless. Base Hillbilly, Arch, last night I had a dream. I was calling the Norway King a Danish imposter in my kitchen. Anyway, abolish pensions. Boomers have had it too good. Oh, don't worry. Pensions will be abolished by the time that the rest of us are going to want them. Max Robe for 20, thank you very much. In reference to previous Gorman, Apone, Hicks, Hudson, Spunkmeyer, woman, pilot name, I don't remember, Drake, Vasquez, Dietrich, Frost, and Bishop. Less crew, obviously, but I suspect the Odyssey's crew won't be fleshed out. Maranga 2, this stream is sponsored by the like button. Will either wargame have a horde faction with lots of mooks in human wave tactics? Eventually, not at launch, but there are ideas for several horde factions. Marine Alva, also, War of Rights is finally getting the cavalry update on the 17th. A little issue with collision damage, but I expect it to be fixed by then. That sounds pretty good. Superkaji, we appear to have been infected with African time. Jake Q. Rock Sargon, if you want a great fictional film example of abuse of a young man by the CSP in Australia, for a video watch Bring Her Back. Though not if you hate horror or have weak nerves or stomach. Definitely not a Frenchman. I've recently started writing again. I'm trying to write a barbarian action story. It's a musel. I haven't worked for a while. Conan book read. Thank you. Thank you as well, sir. Conan. Conan. Neo Z, 1,400 watching. Hit the Whopper button. The Whopper button. Knit Mantis, the issue here is that while productivity has gone up, the amount paid to the workers per production unit has crashed due to stagnating wages. It's also just the simple fact that we cannot possibly extract that much more in the way of productivity, right? If you want any more productivity than this, basically you've got to stop educating people in whatever you're currently educating them in and start educating them in a robot maintenance and robot operations. That's the only way we're going to squeeze any more productivity out of this. We already have highly automated factories. The problem is also regulation, by the way, which makes, and this is a bane upon productivity, regulation. Our mechanical abilities to increase productivity are just about nearing maxed out without major reworks and major investment in automation, which is also going to cost billions of dollars, of course. And our current productivity is being kept down by necessary regulations, so it's unfortunately not quite so easy to simply just say work harder, peasant. Kiefer Brown, even the young live off my taxes due to anxiety. Oh, yes, indeed. You cannot be a member of the working system because you have anxiety. And document, my only political issue ticked item, radical fiscal responsibility expected of every single citizen. Unfortunately, I don't think it will catch on. What we need is debtors' jails back, okay? In England, there was a system that if you entered debt and you could not pay it back, you would be thrown in a debtor's jail, where you would be forced to work, forced to labor, and all of your money would go to your debtors whilst you lived in absolutely terrible conditions. That was an idea that we discarded far too early, and over something so simple and silly as human rights concerns. Subject Noble, I find the Assemblywoman by Aristophanes, we will share everything, and there is no longer be rich or poor, then who will till the soil? The slaves. Correct. And that is largely what we're hitting right here. That is the answer that he's presenting. Who will work? Who will provide the money? The rich. The slaves. Tobin Russell, I was thought those 3 arrows meant fascist cause third way. No, it's an Antifa signal from back in the old German days. They're the losing side of that conflict, the people who got their asses whooped. And Menagman, Sargon, I believe the 3 arrows is defending the boomers because he's hoping to live long enough to be on the benefit in the same way they have. G-Blade Warrior, welfare can work if everyone taking it can't vote. Possibly, yes. Although, the problem with that is,
Are you ready to
I imagine the people who
yellow
can
mares
vote would simply
fluttery,
take it away
fluttery
from them.
vote?
So, I mean, that would be a functional solution. That would be the system working, sort of, just in a very specific way. Burnson, my friendly but emphatic advice for 3 arrows and those who share his views, get to the chopper. Admit Acumen, thank you for your donation, sir. Solution, I need economists that also like video games to make a game that teaches responsible spending, and saving, and out it into whatever genre MMO uses to do this. In my games like this exist, we need one to blow up. Honestly, we just need to have games in school. Straight up. There needs to be a games class where, like, this could basically be like a break class where in the middle of the school day or something, you have 1 hour where you play video games. And those video games are all going to be around economic, societal, or philosophical matters. For example, there was a game I played in school that it was about teaching people on how the Viking economy worked. So you'd have to, sow the seeds during the summer, harvest it during the winter, and you'd go off to the Ting to trade for things like iron and goods and refined goods, and you'd sell to them whatever you had to sell, wheat, barley, lumber, and so on. It taught me a lot more about the Viking economy than a class would. Have an hour of video games in the middle of the day. MacLeod. See, when Sargon isn't here, I do it. I call him MacLeod because it annoys Sargon. It's specifically an aggression upon him. It is a microaggression I have adopted into a firmly established habit. MacLeod, giving money to random people who don't know how to use money just to balance the scale is only possible in the minds of economic flat earthers. Correct. Okay, Bud, the real value is the people who get paid. It's a great way of putting as well. The true value of a corporation is the people they employ, because those people also, of course, are then in a position to contribute to the wider system. If a company employs 50,000 people, that's 50,000 people paying taxes, who will then facilitate the creation of a bigger, better welfare state. In other words, if you want a big welfare state, you need to be the biggest fucking capitalist imaginable. MJ Bull, but he is a socialist, and the owners of the company do not create any wealth in his view. They are not unproductive exploiters in the socialist view. They are not. Yeah. Correct. That is the thing. Wealth is created from the earth. It exists a priori of any labor necessary to extract it. If there exists a woman who's willing to pay $5 for an egg, then $5 exists even in a world that there's no eggs. And now you're going to have to find a way to get $2 off that woman. And probably at least $1 off the guy selling the egg. Mr. Frenzy, I despise inheritance tax and property tax. There's not a hope in hell I'm paying off a mortgage in my lifetime, and the only hope I have in not ending up homeless is via inheritance. And also, that is your wealth. That is your value. It is your family's earnings that the government has done absolutely nothing to facilitate. In fact, they have actively been putting up road barriers every step of the way for the government to then come in and demand a portion of it, no matter how small, is simply evil. Simply evil. Bernson, the most ridiculous part is Germany pretends half the social contributions are the employer's share, as if the company just paid that out of pocket without the employee having to work for it. Well, that's the thing too, right? Because another thing about the rich is, so the rich will take a wage for working at the company, assuming they run it as CEO or something. They're paying themselves. That isn't them taking money out of the worker's pocket. That is them taking money out of their own pocket. And they have to first pay 15% corporate tax, and then on top of that, pay 45% employment tax, meaning the rich person is already paying 55% tax, or 60% tax, actually. So fuck you very much. Base Yellowbelly. Leftists refuse to understand the Laffer curve. A fuzzy creature. Basically, if you improve your company, Germany claims it owns a piece of that company value if you sell it. Yep, you're punished for it. Valimor, Sargon, that's not how progressive tax works. When you reach a higher bracket, you pay the higher rate for the amount above the bracket. Everything below is taxed at the old rate. Fund of Arch choice. It is an awful system that I hate a tremendous amount, and I want to see it go away. That's what I would like. Anthony, okay, German commie, no more US aid to defense spending. Let's see if you can pay for your programs then. They can't. Bob, speaking of Izzat, ever heard of the Norwegian movie called Izzat? It's set in Oslo in the 80s and 90s, following a second-gen immigrant boy attracted to a criminal gang on the east side. I have not seen it. I've never even heard of it, in fact. That could be interesting. Nolly, thank you for your donation, sir. To be fair, Archley, while giving debtors a solid way to work off their smaller, more manageable debts is good, it is easily abused, I fear. Well, maybe the abuse is part of the point. Maybe the debtor being bent over a barrel and sexually violated 7 times a day by a brutally obese owner of the debtor's prison is part of the plan. Perhaps I want that man who showed the economic initiative to establish a debtor's prison to be able to enjoy the soft, plush behind of the debtor. Perhaps that is his reward. Kiefer Brown hit like a second time to double like the stream and banned. Explosion. Need to make sure any child is making tax benefits only apply to legal countrymen, not immigrants. That's another good point, yes. We're at 1,220 likes. It's probably going to be difficult to reach 1,500, but we have unlocked the first bonus of the day, so do not fear. Do not fear. We've already unlocked one of our boosts. There we go. $50 added to a goal. Another 50 will be unlocked if you manage to squeeze out the remainder. But I understand that it is a challenging squeeze, chat. I understand that you, like I and everybody else, have had that moment when you sit down to do your ablutions and you have to physically rock back and forth in order to try to fix it. It is an unfortunate situation to be in. MacLeod, in Texas, we wrote... You're in Texas? You are MacLeod. We are not Scottish. Fuck you. We wrote it in our constitution to ban state income tax and inheritance tax. In spite of this, we got a budget surplus and lowering property taxes and forcing the citizens to do so too. Fan-fucking-tastic. I want to move to Texas. I want to move to Texas. It sounds like a good place. I want to live in Texas. Tell me where to live. Tell me. Tell me now. Messy Tenet, the solution is corpse starch. It is but a part of the solution, and we will be feeding the debtors corpse starch, by the way. Johannes Bohengom, 19.3 billion euro in capital gain tax in 2025. 19.3 billion euros. That's a lot. Frog Jupiter, did you know the world is so overregulated that all the US has to do to have a competitive advantage in manufacturing is to remove 10% of the regulations? Fucking do it. Regulations, get rid of it. Like, we can maintain the bare standards, things like, okay, if you've got a dude working near an enormous saw, install a mechanic on the saw that stops it from chopping his feet off. That's all we need. That's all of it. Nothing else. Mr. Frenzy, rat power! Rat power. Rat power. Nolly, that's the problem, Arch. What if debtors in question actually does try to pay off the debts, and the debt jailer just keep raising the debt? Well, if he wishes to keep the plump cheeks so much that he wants to keep raising his debt through some nefarious machinations, then that is just demonstrating that he has the superior capitalist spirit to the debtor and will continue to enjoy his cheeks and tight posterior for as long as he fucking wants, until a tighter ass supplants him on the hierarchy, at which point he will be able to earn money at a regular rate and escape debtor's prison. This is a perfect solution without any exploits or weaknesses whatsoever. It's very LGBTQ as well. MD Bull, there are people who greatly offended to sock security a benefit. They see it as something they paid for. The law says that no one is owed a social security payment. Then why do you keep taking it from me? Psychic Alchemy, look into Georgism. Replace basically all taxes with an aggressive tax on ground rents, paid back to the citizens, and let the markets do the rest. MJ Bull, math is ideologically incorrect. Reject math. That is literally the progressive decision. Kiefer Brown, leftism equals virtue signaling, plus ignore second-order effects. Yes, if it does not fit the narrative, you must simply reject the framing. Simple as. You've just got to reject it. Even Ross, 96. Why use the service? Your objector brings up Rand response when he took Social Security, saying it is wrong to recover money stolen from you. Why use the service? You object. Money stolen from you. I guess. But again, like it's just so evil. It's just so fucking evil. Steel Manning. Germany just loves stealing wealth and profiting off slave labor. It is their preferred form of income. And Menakeman, what do you mean value go down when inventory go up? It is strange. Where have we learned things like this? Sloxon Doppelganger. At any point, the native population has the option to reject a migrant population by making them so unwelcome as to make their continued resistance untenable. Continued residence. If enough of the nation population participate, the government can do. Correct, but that is why we are changing culture. Change culture first. Make it culturally acceptable, and then we can do that. I'm not opposed to doing it. I'm just saying we need to do it from a position of strength. McLeod, just stay away from the cities and you're good in Texas. Too many streamers run to Dallas, Austin, and find out it's LA. The cities are tumors. Oh, I would not be in a city. I would find myself a nice house like an hour away from the nearest city. Or maybe like half an hour, because that's a comfortable driving distance. Half an hour, roundabout. Half an hour to 40 minutes away from the nearest city. That would be like the perfect distance. Perfect. And finally, Primarch. Arch, have you ever read about the 15th Wisconsin? It is a Civil War regiment made up almost exclusively of Norwegians. I have not read about the 15th Wisconsins, no. Although that does sound rather intriguing. That would be kind of interesting. I might make a point out of checking that out. And with that, I believe we are at an end. Also, we did get raided by Ember Paradox on Kick. I barely log on to Kick, so I can never catch when people are streaming on Kick. All right, If any of you are frequent watchers of Ember Paradox, which I was told to bring on the ArchCast, tell her to go follow me back on Twitter, because I did find her Twitter account, and I'll see if I can reach out and get it done. By the way, if you're hearing a constant click in the background, that's my fan ticking over. It's necessary. I need the fan. It must be here. It must be on. It must live. Because otherwise, I will die. I literally will just die, chat. And if I die, well, who will you give Superchats to? Who? The government? You would give this money to the government instead of me? I think that is a vile idea, chat. A vile and utterly, morally bankrupt notion. And I hope you will reject it for what it is. Until next time, chat. Thank you all very, very, very much for watching. And I hope to see you all again very soon. Maybe tomorrow, depending on the temperature. We'll see. I'm getting indigestion from the heat right now. I can literally feel my belly going, "It's hot, master. Fix it." And it's threatening to give me the taco shits. To sheer heat alone. And with that image now firmly lodged inside of your skulls, have a very good night, chat.